you so much for the 6-month sub. Holy shit. Also, hello. Why the fuck is my bitrate so low? I completely forgot to go to the transition, but oh well. Anyway, hello everybody. It has been a bit since I've last done this podcast. I have greatly missed doing this, but you know, it is back. We are coming back at it with some style. Unfortunately, we weren't able to have all of the guests that I originally hoped for tonight. Couple people just didn't, somebody just didn't respond. A couple people, weren't really feeling it tonight, so they had to step out, and that is perfectly fine. But we still have 2 pretty cool guests. So, first up, you know who they are. They come onto my stream quite a lot. Oh, right, I should probably talk about what today is. So, today, we are talking about, you know, what it means to be aromantic and asexual. I am aware that the communities are separate. They can go hand in hand, but most of the time, they're actually very separate from each other. So first up, you guys all know who they are, I believe. They are a pretty frequent visitor to my streams. They make some very questionable comments. First up is Aster. I forgot I was deafened still. Aster.
Broski, you gotta undeafen if you want me to hear you.
I undeafened.
Clownery. Sheer clownery. I thought you'd done this before.
Hey, it's been a few months,
Is
alright?
it amateur hour over here?
Also,
Dude, you deafened again. You muted. Hello?
I did just put a mature warning because despite the fact that this is an Arrow Ace episode, there is going to be mature topics in this episode because, you know, it's a spectrum.
Yeah.
Anyway,
And I'm gonna
Aster,
make
go
a lot of
ahead
horny
and
comments.
Go ahead and introduce yourself, name, pronouns, and just give a fun fact about yourself.
Yes, okay. I'm Aster. They, them. I think most of you on this channel know me. Fun fact, I guess I've got a bunch of gummies over here. I like banana milk. Yeah. And I still think that we should play Fortnite, Naruto Fortnite. So, you know, let me know what your thoughts are on that. I want to play Naruto Fortnite. I want to shoot a gun as Sasuke.
Not right now. I do want to try and stay on topic as much as possible for this episode.
Yes, alright.
Like, this is one of the few times I'm gonna put my foot down about things derailing.
Hey.
Alright.
I think it's I think they're, busy? I think they muted and, like, said they have to do something.
Alright, okay, just give me thumbs up, thumbs down. Okay, so next up, we have another really cool person. You've seen them a lot in chat. They are a very cool person in here. And actually, I don't know why they're not VIP'd yet. Let me do that. But next
Oh, the
up,
camera's just not showing. Okay.
next up, we have the wonderful Athena. Hello.
I had to unmute. Hello, I am Athena. I go by a lot of neopronouns. My preferred is Void and Nightmare, but I'm also okay. Fun fact about me? I'm chaotic.
Yeah.
My roommate just gave me a look as I paused and just like waiting for me to.
Well, hello to Athena's roommate.
Yes. I don't have any other comments about myself. I'm chaotic because that's if you see me in the chat, you know I'm chaotic.
Yeah, and in case you guys don't know, Athena is also Starlit Galaxies here on Twitch. They're pretty common in my chat. Got that fancy VIP badge.
I do.
Oh shit, that sub badge matches your name.
It does. Like I said before, green and purple are my go-tos.
Hell yeah. All right. Well,
Despite the fact that I don't wear a ton.
Well, with introductions
hello,
out of the way. Wait, what?
Hello, fellow Star Theme, Star Brand. Let's go. Let's go.
Stars, let's go.
I mean,
Space, my beloved. All right, my
All
roommate
right.
has left the room. We're good.
So, I guess first main question is like, I guess we're just gonna start off with the asexual part of it. I do want to try and fit both into this episode, but however, if it does tend to go on for super long, I am gonna cut it up into 2 parts.
It is a really long topic.
It is.
There's a lot
So,
for both.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna be splitting this up into 2 episodes, but I'm just kind of seeing how we feel about this. But yeah, so main thing, how did you guys realize you were first on the asexual spectrum?
Do you want to go first, Aster, or do you want me to?
Sure, yeah. I mean, like, I think I kind of figured out the bi part, like, first, right? But probably when I was about 13 or 14. And then I kind of had this attitude of, like, oh, you know, people are talking about this. I don't really feel it. I guess I'll kind of wait and, you know, see what happens. But I ended up, like, going until, like, the first year of high school where it was kind of like, oh, I'm genuinely not feeling anything for this. I guess I'm ace. So it wasn't really a difficult thing for me. It was just kind of, oh, it's just not there. So, you know, whatever, I guess. I'd already, like, gone through, like, the whole thing with being bi, so it wasn't as hard figuring out that I was ace, I guess.
Yeah, my story's different and actually a little bit opposite. Because my first crisis was actually the asexuality.
Oh,
And yeah. Like I grew up in a really conservative household. So I was growing up expecting that I was like, oh, you'll find someone eventually. It's really funny because like I was literally talking at my junior year of high school, so my 3rd year of high school, and I was literally talking to my current interest at the time. And then we were making like sex jokes and stuff like that. And then like and I like literally went like I just had never really been into.
Oh, so just
Oh,
a heads
yeah,
up,
it might
you are
be-
cutting out a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Should I restart over? What'd you miss?
It was literally just that last part.
Yeah, we were making sex jokes. I kind of like, oh yeah, I never really been interested. Yeah, I think I might be asexual, and like I literally paused there, and I'm like, I'm gonna go research this. So I did, and then like in the middle of class, like this is in the middle of class that I'm talking is about this. 10 minutes, it went 10 minutes, and I went and researched, came back. Yeah, I think I'm this, and at that day, and just did a ton more research. And I was like, yeah, this fits.
Also, thank you so much for the follow. Yeah, I think so. One thing that's interesting is everyone has slightly different stories when it comes to discovering stuff about themselves. Main thing with me really is without getting too into detail and trauma dumping and shit. There was stuff that happened with my first girlfriend. There were like certain role plays that was like pressured to be done, and you know, it's like I never got any interest out of it, and instead I just felt extremely uncomfortable with it the entire time. I actually never really knew. I honestly thought at the time that I was just, you know, too young and things like that, but no, I just didn't have an interest in it, and at the time I was like heavily sex repulsed. And then I think it was when I found out that I was demi-romantic that I started doing more research and found out that there was demisexual as well. And like, I don't know, I have been battling for years about where I am on the spectrum. Like, am I asexual? Am I demi? Am I gray ace? Am I not? Am I not asexual? Like,
Yeah, that's one of the biggest struggles I think every ace does is where the fuck am I?
especially when you start getting with like certain people that you, to put it bluntly, wouldn't mind having sex with.
Yeah.
And like when you start getting older and start getting around those people more, it starts getting more and more confusing. I'm like, okay, have I just not met the right person yet, or am I actually just on the spectrum and need like that kind of connection? Like,
yeah, I think when like I remember seeing this post once, 'cause, like I'm not as involved in the ace community as I used to. I still am, like I do. I'm on a blog, but I was super heavily involved. Like Aven was the first place I went to when I did the research, and I was hugely involved on the forums. I was constantly on them, just looking and learning. But like one thing I always noticed is like there's like kind of a trend. You know how I'm trying to figure out where every identity in the LGBT has their like unique experience, and there's always obviously the shared ones across the entire community. Like you're not societal normal kind of thing.
yeah.
One thing I've noticed with aces and arrows is that like it's just a different kind of thing. Like it's really its own experience that you just can't really compare with the others.
There's a lot more erasure around these communities than any other community.
Like again, not like, and I've seen this joke as I joke like bi, pans, and asexuals or ace arrow communities is like all shaking hands like the world doesn't think we exist. Like that's true, but I'd argue that yes, bis and pans get a lot of erasure, and that's not okay at all. Aces and arrows get it even worse.
Yeah,
like I've known people just not even know what it is.
And they're
literally, yeah.
So I guess it's kind of being brought up now. Is it okay if I bring up a kind of heavy fucking topic with this?
Yes. Also, if I disappear, there's 2 kittens. I might have to get out of the room. If I just like dip for a second,
worries.
that is what's happening.
But yeah. So one of the things I've noticed,
you might see one of them.
a lot of asexual erasure is also deeply rooted in homophobia. Because like one of the main things I see, especially on Twitter, is like calling it gross whenever 2 minors are in a gay relationship, because people automatically assume that like
it's sexual.
Yeah, like being gay is not inherently sexual, and that homophobic remark is also extremely like acephobic and completely erasing the fact that we exist.
Yeah, I know the other thing too with like.
No, you go. Sorry, you go ahead.
You go.
Okay, there seems to be like this belief that like romance has to be intrinsically linked to sex, which is really weird, honestly.
I'll go on that rant later.
Okay.
Like my thing I've noticed with like homophobia and just the distaste for anything LGBT is that it's the idea that LGBT people are inherently sexual. Like it is inherently It is so over sexualized, and it doesn't help that most media showing any sort of healthy relationship with LGBT people, and it is usually mature, so that doesn't help the idea. Like when everyone was so happy over Love Simon, like, oh well, why this thing? It's like, oh, how dare teenagers have romance,
Yeah.
kind of thing. It's like,
And it's
it's
similar
the
thing with the
idea.
Owl House too.
Yeah, I haven't watched that, but I've heard enough about it to know that there's a lot of that issue too. It's the idea that's like, I've seen Tumblr post talking, like they have the kids go like, ask like, oh, why are these two, like say two men together, like, oh, why are they kissing? And then an older generation, or even not even older generation, someone else, and when it's explained like, oh, they're just in love or whatever, you shouldn't be talking about, it's not sexual, they're asking about romance, not sex. Like,
Yeah.
they're asking about why if these two people just love each other. That's all they're asking. It's the idea. Like, it's definitely a. Well,
Oh,
Okay, there we
oh
go.
no. You good?
okay. I thought you were
Okay,
guys
we're
doing
back.
it.
Nope.
Okay. It's definitely the idea that it's inherently sexual, and it's so bad.
Yeah,
It's bad enough for it's bad for like just the community as a whole, but then when you throw the Ace and Arrow side, both communities.
Yeah, because like it's harmful for everyone involved. Like it's harmful for especially like young people who are like figuring themselves out, and then realizing that media like everyone thinks that there's something wrong with them because or something's wrong because everyone overly sexualizes being gay, and also it makes it feel like. It genuinely makes it feel like you're broken when you grow up later and like realize that
Like you're not interested in
asexual.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
I've
it's so
been ace
harmful
for
in
years
so
and I
many
still
ways.
struggle with it. I've literally been sure of my identity on the sexual spectrum. Like where I am on that spectrum depends on my journey in life, but like very, very sure I'm on that spectrum, and it's been a struggle to really get over the fact that I'm not broken. Like there's nothing wrong with, but there's still always that like thing like there's something wrong with you. You don't like this. You're not like everyone else. It's like
Yeah.
it's so harmful. It
really
gets
is.
really toxic in your brain when you have to deal with that.
And like even after accepting it, sometimes you'll have like an experience that makes you question it all over again, and you're like,
Yep.
okay, maybe I'm not on this side, and I'm actually at a different place in the spectrum than I thought.
Yeah.
It's really,
Yeah.
it's always weird.
Like there
Well,
have
just because
been-
it's so confusing.
Yeah, there have been several times that I. Oh god, please tell me it doesn't have this Subnautica tag somehow.
What?
Okay, it
Oh
doesn't.
my god, that'd be so funny.
But no, What was the
Oh,
last
I wasn't
thing
looking
that
at the
you
chat.
said?
That was my
What was the last thing that you said? Athena?
me or Aster? Oh,
You.
something about it being toxic in your head about when you have those kind of thoughts that you're broken.
Oh, right, yeah. There have, like, straight up been times I have had to just ditch the asexual label because, like, yes, I still identify as ace, but, like, I have ditched that label several times because even though I know demisexual and gray sexual is a thing and that it can be very fluid and like, fluctuate a lot, I've still had, like, a lot of internalized ace phobia because of how, like, people treat it. And so, like,
And
with my
how
last
sexual
partner,
our culture is, too.
yeah, and it felt like I legit had a fucking breakdown when I started having like more sexual thoughts about my ex. Because I was like, I
relate.
I thought I was ace. Why am I thinking this? This is wrong. This isn't right. Like, what the fuck? And honestly, the same thing with my current boyfriend too. It's like I'm still having that struggle and like.
Yeah, what are you? The kittens are sniffing each other. I got really confused with what they were doing.
Speaking of kittens.
If I look away, that is because I'm looking at the kittens.
My headphones don't go that far.
I think-
I'm sad.
Well, that is a rip.
Oh no, show us the cat. Come on.
Okay.
I want to see the pussy.
Here, let me see if I can grab one.
Oh
No? Okay, well, this one does not want to join me. I'm trying. Nope, never mind.
Yes.
I
Pussy
tried.
time.
God damn it.
It's okay, my partner is making the same jokes.
Look, man, you know me. You thought I wasn't gonna make those jokes? Come on.
Listen, have you ever noticed that asexuals have the dirtiest minds?
Oh my god. Okay,
Oh yeah, all
about
the
that.
time.
Okay,
All the
that
fucking time.
just reminded me.
It is absolutely
Thank you
hilarious
for
to
just
me.
shoving your ass in my face. Thank you. Y'all want to hear one of the worst cases of like aphobia I've personally witnessed?
Let's go.
What?
Okay,
Yes.
so
I'm ready to throw hands. Let's go.
in my last friend group, like in one of my online like IRL friend groups, technically IRL, I knew a couple of them in person. I was the only ace person in the group.
Right.
And, you know, everyone respected that, like, but there was this one person who was she was fucking babying the goddamn shit out of me. Because anytime
no.
that somebody in the group made a sex joke, she would just be like, "Oh my god, don't say that. We have an ace person in the chat. Like, don't say that. Like, you have to realize
That's
that
another
they're
misconception
ace."
too.
It's like-
That's another one.
And then she always acted like it was scandalous whenever I made a sex joke.
Oh my god. really?
That's another huge misconception too. Is because like there's you know there's sexual pulse, there's sex indifference, and there's all the different things, which I think a lot of
And
those
you
should also
can
just be
fluctuate
applied in general.
And you can
They should be
fluctuate
applied to
between
people
them.
in general. Like one
Yeah.
of my really good friends is probably a verse, but he's not ace. He's just really indifferent to the idea that it just depends on the partner.
Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah.
it's something that when I told him about those labels, he's like, "Oh, that makes a lot of sense." It's one of those things. Is like there's a lot of things in the ace scenario communities I really think should be applied to relationships in general. But you know, the world's not ready for that
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah.
They really aren't. Yeah.
Because people who
No,
are
they're just not.
like, people who are like ace tend to talk about their boundaries with sex a lot more than people who are not ace.
Yeah.
But that's a whole
Well,
nother can of worms.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But no, like a huge thing around misconceptions asexual is that like none of
thank
us
you
like
so
sex.
much for the
Like
follow.
that's not true. Or like
there.
that we refuse to talk about it. Like I'd honestly say it's a minority of the community who don't like talking about it at all.
One
the
of
most
the biggest
part-
things. Sorry.
No. For the most part, a lot of asexuals, no matter where they are on the asexual spectrum, are usually pretty okay talking about it and often will make their own jokes.
Yeah.
With sex as a whole.
Because there is a
So-
difference between talking about sex and making sex jokes versus actually having
participating
sex.
in it.
Like,
And
there is
that's
a
where the
huge
difference
difference.
is.
Like I make more sex jokes than literally anybody else I know.
Yeah.
Like
Do you know how many times I've won
Especially when
Cards
you
Against
see, like-
Humanity?
Oh my
what?
god, yeah.
Oh my god, yeah. Cards
Cards
Against
Against
I
Humanity.
love that game.
Like, I
Great
make the
game.
dirtiest jokes in there. Like, it's bad. So it's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and like sometimes I'm just really squick. Sex. I will make that known. And like that's why like I'm really grateful for one of my current friend groups is like they're aware of that, and like my housemates try to be aware too. They don't fully understand. One of them particularly be like, it's a joke, I'm not sure you'd be comfortable because it's really sexual. I'm like, okay, you go ahead and shoot, and if it's not, I'll let you know, kind of thing like that. Like
Yeah.
they're very cautious about that, which I appreciate. It's like I'm also just at the same time, it's like you can just do it. I'll say something if it's not comfortable, like just go for it, it's fine.
Like,
Yeah.
one of the
It's
biggest
a weird misconception.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Especially because it's a minority of the community.
And one of the biggest misconceptions that I've seen, because like I've been doing a lot more research ever since I've started having more like sexual thoughts about people I've been with.
What
There's
are you doing?
a lot of people tend to think that sexual desire and sexual attraction are the same thing. People who
Yeah.
are ace often don't experience sexual attraction, but they
Attraction.
can experience sexual desire.
Yep.
Oh, for
That's where
sure,
the whole
yeah.
like that's where like the whole like sex indifference and stuff like that. I don't remember all the terms off the top. memory. But that's where a lot of that, like the indifference, averse, and stuff like that. And there's
Oh, they're cutting out again.
Yeah, you're like majorly
Thank
cutting
for
out.
this. Someone else talk while I'm trying to look for this.
Okay, yeah, sure.
What the fuck are you? Oh, he's cleaning himself. That's what he's doing.
How is the pussy? Doing good?
Oh, I found it.
Yeah, I'm gonna refer to it as the pussy all
Did
the
my
time.
sound die?
All right, you're back now.
Hello?
Hello.
Oh?
Hello. Hi. Uh-oh, technical difficulties, chat.
Again, yeah. Oh no.
Oh no.
Hello?
Surely not.
We're good. Okay, I found the thing.
Okay, so basically, the main thing with attraction is you want to have the. Okay, so the most basic way I can put it, and also just a heads up for anyone in chat, you are more than welcome to put questions in chat if you want more clarification or topics like that.
Ooh,
But
I have to let a cat out.
the simplest way I can put it is attraction is wanting to have sex with a specific person or a specific group of people if you're into that kind of thing, if you're like polyamorous or things like that. Desire is just the want to have sex, not necessarily caring about who it's with. Although desire can look a lot like attraction, because most people who are ace, when they experience sexual desire, they would usually prefer to have sex with somebody that they're more comfortable with. But that
Yeah,
just like
everything.
specific.
yeah. So it's basically like another way you can put it is like, I want to have sex with you because I really like you, I really think you're cool, and I trust you, versus I want to have sex with you because I'm horny and you turn me on.
Yeah.
Like that.
There's a
That's
lot of
another.
metaphors.
Yeah.
There's a lot of metaphors that Ace and Arrow communities have come up with to explain the differences, and I've tried to find one. I did find my thing about the meanings, if this will help. So there's 5 different terms that are really used in the Ace community in particular, and I'm sure they're also used in the Arrow communities in reference to romance. But I'm just gonna read them off if that's okay with everyone.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I want to check those because I just read this off and dump. Okay, so our first term is sex positive. This is you are okay with sex in general for everyone. It is good as long as it's safe and consensual. And there's sex favorable. This is sex for yourself. You are favorable towards it being in your life and you participating in it. Sex neutral is having no opinion towards it in general for everyone. Like, you just don't care. People have it, it exists, whatever. Sex indifferent is neither actively wanting sex for yourself but not being against the idea of it. So depending on the partner or whatever, things like that. Sex negative is believing it is inherently bad for everyone in general. Like, it's like you just think it's a bad idea as a whole. And then sex averse or repulsed is not enjoying just sex for yourself. Those are terms used in the ACE community that refer to.
And it is also okay and possible and normal for people to fluctuate between those different things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I used to be sex repulsed, and then I went to sex neutral, and now I'm more like sex favorable at this moment in time.
Yeah, I've been pretty averse my entire life, and I'd say recently I've been more neutral. But it's still, I have a lot of stuff I need to work through.
Yeah.
Would there be terms on all these terms in the quiz? But I don't know. I would say probably now I'm more neutral because of stuff happening in my life, and I'm getting more comfortable with my own body as a whole. Because like that's the other thing too, is like this is something, and is all the current people in the podcast are, trans or some identity that's not cis, at least whatever label you wish to use, but probably also relate to this. But there's a level of dysphoria in relation to sex when you're an ace too.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah,
it's such a big dysphoric thing. Like, it's really hard to explain, but I notice anytime I talk to someone who is not cis but is on the ace spectrum, it is something they inherently relate to.
Oh yeah, and I like without going into detail, because like yes, we're
Yeah.
gonna be blunt, but that doesn't mean we're gonna go into detail on this on here.
We're gonna
like,
get not safe for work, but not too not safe for work.
exactly. Like while I have
Yeah.
been in a situation kind of related to that, it's like dysphoria with sex when you're on the asexual spectrum is an interesting thing, and it also depends on like what exactly you're doing, I guess, like how you're having it.
Yeah,
Because,
definitely.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then another thing too is when you have a partner, you really need to be explicit about it, because like I
think
said, when
cutting out
you're
a little bit.
my mic today.
Oh
I
no.
don't know why. Are we
If
good?
Yeah,
you
just like a
have-
little bit.
How
Every
do you suggest telling allo people about a QPR?
I have one.
Hmm.
I have one. Let me
Oh.
take this. I have a
Okay.
QPR. Let's
I
go.
used to have a
Had a
QPR.
I've never
So-
had one, so
So the thing to remember with QPR is that it is very, very, very dependent on the people involved.
Yes.
So I'm going to use my partner as an example, and I'm not going to go into detail because obviously it's my partner's our private life. I'm not going to go into super detail. But the first thing that we did is we decided how strong the romantic feelings we have for each other are, because I'm on the arrow spectrum as well as the ace spectrum. My partner is not. My partner's
Oh.
vaguely on the ace spectrum, but not necessarily arrow. So we talked about our boundaries. Like, okay, what are these? And my partner's very, very aware that on the ace spectrums, and I have a very difficult situation with romance as a whole. I don't know what is romance? I don't know. So we talked about our boundaries, and I said we both agreed to call it vaguely romantic because that's what it is. But there's no way that I am comfortably able to define how I feel for my partner exactly. So the first thing to remember, I think, with QPRs is that it's very, very dependent. There are, I know, poly ones. I know ones that are just, it is a partnership. It's a life partnership. They're platonically married. They have platonically raised kids. I know some that are they are platonically involved, but they are sexually involved as well. There's others where they have one person who is the QPR, like it's a poly situation where there's one person, right, and then they're romantic with one person and platonically involved with the other. So they're
Yeah.
like all. It's very, very, very dependent.
Yeah.
For allos, I would recommend explaining to people. This is how I usually do. It's kind of like
Like, it's not necessarily an in-between between a romantic
Yeah.
and platonic. It's not, like, a lot of people say it's in-between, but it's not.
it's not.
It's really dependent
it's a whole other
on...
thing. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really dependent on how
it's-
everyone in the party feels about it. Like, everyone involved
I usually say as a general statement, it's more than a friendship, but it's not quite a romance.
But
So it's definitely- it's not necessar-
Yeah.
And it can. It's like that's the thing. Like I would say my partner kind of gearing towards the romantic side, but it's still really, really difficult.
The way I would,
It's
like...
not, yeah. I
yeah,
wouldn't say it's a
honestly,
fancy word for friendship.
I would probably say is probably like being, like, to put it simply to somebody who doesn't quite understand it, would, like, as somebody who's been in a poly QPR relationship, I still don't fully know how to explain it.
It's just, it's because it's so dependent. There's no way
Yeah.
to fully
But, like, the most simple way to describe it is a life partner. Not exactly
Mhm.
romantic, not exactly platonic, but I was in, like, a poly queer platonic relationship. A couple of those relationships turned into, like, romantic relationships, because, like, we were both, like, demi-romantic, and then so later on in that relationship we developed, like, actual, like, romantic feelings.
Right.
One of them turned into, like, romantic and slightly sexual, and, like, it really just depends on how
The people
everyone involved
involved.
feels, and you
It's
definitely
like-
have to have communication.
Yeah, communication
Oh,
is
yeah,
a huge
sure.
part of it. Communication is a huge part of it. general, but like when it's a QPR, it's really even bigger too. It's kind of like with poly as well. Like it's really, you really need the communication for things like that because you're dealing with different boundaries than you would in a normal relationship, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, and those boundaries are really important. So you
And
understand,
and it's one of those things like not to bring the Dream SMP into this, but it's like
right, okay.
while everyone says that like, while it technically is canon that Ranboo and Tubbo in character are romantically married, I personally see them as more of like a queer platonic marriage.
Well, remember the thing is they started it out. They started
you
out.
cut
They're
out.
actually cutting out. The thing is that it started. Am I good? Am I good?
Yeah, you're good.
It started out as a platonic marriage. That's what they said it started as, and then it moved to their more romantic. So that is a really good example of how a QR really kind of turned vaguely romantic
Yeah,
relationship.
like that.
So
like
they're actually a really good example.
Yeah, like they probably know nothing about queer platonic relationships, if I'm gonna be honest, but that is like one of the best examples of a QPR in media.
In recent media, that's actually a really good example. Like, and I'll be to my friends, I'll joke like, "Hey, you see these people? Bet they're in a QPR," because I just see their little. It's something I recognize as someone who is dealing with it, and they probably know nothing about it, but
And,
still people be like, "Oh yeah." Do you know how many times
Yeah.
I've joked that the Dream Team are probably in a QPR?
Probably. I mean, they're
Like,
literally
bro.
they're all gonna be living together by the end of the year.
Exactly. And we've seen all of them flirting with each other, and all of a sudden, like, I don't understand their relationship. I just say they're QPR. They give
Yep.
those vibes. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah. But
But yeah,
if I'm gonna be
unintentional
honest,
representation. That is
Yeah.
exactly what Ranboo and Tubbo did, and I'm so grateful for that.
And if I'm gonna be honest, the whole Ranboo and Tubbo thing is the main reason why I brought up the fact that a lot of homophobia is rooted in aphobia.
You're right. Sorry. I've just seen so many people get mad at Bidoo fan art. It's like, you're making them weak. It's like, bruh.
Like,
Yeah, like what?
is there something weird about being in a gay relationship? It's not it's not a
And,
sexual
and I-
thing.
No, and they've literally stated they don't want that, and the fan art I'm seeing is not that. It's just cute fluff.
Yeah.
Like, you're the one making it weird.
Yeah.
The Blockmen are actually very in tune with their community. That's the thing.
Oh my god.
The
Yeah.
block
It's
man,
like
yes.
because
Yes.
and that's another thing that like it's just the whole situation with that is just so loudly erasing the asexual and aromantic communities.
It's so bad. Like, and I don't like. I'm no Tubbo is aware of what the asexual community is. I'm not sure if he knows about arrows, but I'm pretty sure he does. But he's probably not aware of what a QPR is.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Like, I'm not expecting him to know that. But the fact that he and Rambo actually probably does know. Rambo's very, very, very aware of his
He's-
community being
he's
mostly
prob-
LGBT.
Honestly,
Oh,
I think
he-
he's researched and taught himself about neopronouns.
Well, yeah. Oh my god. Did you know that Sapna did too? That made me so
really?
happy.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
someone
awesome.
asked him about it. Someone asked. Yes, what it is, and asked for a link to look at it later. I was very
Nice.
happy about that. Anyway, that's
That's
off topic. But like, I know Ranboo is very, very aware that his community is LGBT, and has. I remember him stating when he did that really long,
Charity stream?
yeah, the charity stream, that was the word, for the LGBT, and I remember him crying about that. That was
Yeah.
so
that
good.
hurt. Yeah,
That was
hurt.
so good. It was the good kind of hurt that he just was
Yeah.
so happy that. But he's very rare, so I'm pretty sure, unlike Tubbo, he probably knows.
You're cutting
I
out
wouldn't-
again.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh. Like troubles.
Yeah,
I still have
It's
to
a-
mess with my psychology.
but yeah, I definitely would say Rambo probably knows more. But they definitely unintentionally did that, and I'm so glad they did. Like, the
Yeah.
Dream SMP has been. I saw this meme where someone has, you know, that like really meme where you have the giant god thing and the person holding up a sword.
Yeah.
Yeah, have you seen that meme?
Yeah.
Oh
It
my
was
God,
the
yeah.
Dream SMP was the Dream SMP giving LGBT representation was god, and it was like us. It was the fandom as the god, and then it was the Dream SMP content creators giving LGBT representation, holding up the sword.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like, how many people on there are like married in a relationship or implied relationships?
Yeah.
There's several.
Also, okay, slight change of subject.
No, you're
But-
good.
Okay, so this might be a slightly controversial thing.
Okay, alright.
So a
Wait,
lot
what
of
does that
things
say?
I've been-
Personally, I cannot. By buying. What?
What?
Oh, did you not hear about the fuck dream sweater?
No.
Oh my
basi-
god.
it-
yeah,
Context for this?
it was so fucking
basically,
funny.
it's basically rooted in misinformation and Dream Anti saying that like
Is it
It's
complaining about
just-
how much how
Wait,
he
you say
did edit the?
sorry.
Is it about the
Wait,
is it about the charity thing again?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Sorry,
I'd like
did
to
you
see
say
you
Dream
donate
Anti?
$14,000. I'd like to see you donate $140,000.
Yeah. But
Shut
yeah,
up.
no. Well, so
Bro,
but
did you
this
say
is-
Dream Anti instead of Dream Anti?
Shut.
Did I?
But anyway.
Oh, no,
So-
Alex.
So
Oh my God.
slightly controversial thing. There are some things I'm seeing saying that it's completely aphobic to say that it's hard to like not impossible that you cannot tell, but that it's hard to tell if you're asexual before you hit puberty. And like it's not impossible to tell. Like you can know
No.
before
Yeah,
then.
but it is.
But it is hard
like
because with puberty comes your hormones coming in, and then your sex
Only with the
drive,
influence yet. So I
and
Oh yeah.
like that's when the sex drive really starts to kick in, and then puberty is usually
yeah.
also your camera. Like
I can-
there we go.
My
Yeah. Oh, your camera keeps cutting.
Yeah. Oh my
Okay.
god. Creepy Coffee Boy said, "I heard hentai." You know
Oh,
what?
God.
It can be. It can be. I'm
No.
open to discuss that.
No.
I'm
no,
open.
no, no,
No.
no.
Hold on,
No.
hold on.
Yeah, it's like
Being censored.
like you definitely can 100% tell if you are ace or not before then because of how you feel about it, like just like mentally feel about it. But it's a lot easier to tell if you're ace or not once puberty starts to kick in.
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially like I didn't
Athena, are
really
you okay?
realize until
But someone's using the internet in my house.
oh no.
I'm pretty sure I know who it is, and I really want to throw them.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Anyway, but the thing with the before puberty, you can't know because, and I've had the whole. Well, you haven't had sex with. Don't even get me started on that one.
Oh god. Yeah.
It's like,
All right, bye, Sky.
bye, Sky.
Bye.
I think my thing with like you can't know before puberty is like it's the same idea as like people saying you can't know that you're gay before puberty. It's like
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
you can definitely know. It's very obvious to figure out who you like and like the thing is like people don't say that about straight people. You don't hear that about straight people because
Yeah.
it's expected.
Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah,
the
consider
fact that you're saying that is like because and you'll see all these people go like, oh look, he's gonna be such a ladies man. He grows up and he's like 2. Like shut up.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Like
yeah.
you're the one making this weird.
Yeah.
It's like I don't agree with people saying you can't know. Like I understand why they say that because puberty is when you get the influx of hormones and you're dealing with the idea of a sudden sex drive and everything like that. But
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah,
can
I think it's more the
sat
social
there.
perception, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it can be difficult to tear yourself away from that
And
expectation.
I mean, it's also the fact that like if you're that young, you usually aren't thinking about sex in the first place.
The other thing too is that people forget is like this was my experience when I was up is like I didn't understand the idea of getting married. Like my entire childhood was like, I'm like, why would you
Yeah.
want to get married? Why would you want to kiss people? Like I didn't understand. Obviously, as I've grown older, my ideas towards what things are considered in a relationship have changed. But as a kid, like I just didn't get it. I didn't have a like interest in anyone really until I was like my first year. No, my second year of high school. And even then, it wasn't
I'll be
big
right
when I
back,
put
guys.
myself into that. Uh-oh.
Oh, Alex is. Okay. Well, while he's gone, have you ever done that thing when you're a kid and you like fake a crush? Like there's a
Oh.
when I was little, there was like this kid in
Yeah.
my class, and he was like the popular kid, and he was kind of funny. So like, you know, my mom
Yeah.
would be like, "Hey, do you have a crush?" And I was like, him, I guess, because I like spending time with him.
I didn't ever really have celebrity crushes, right, growing up. And
Oh yeah.
when my dad started dating this person who's now his wife, but when he started dating her, I remember her talking to me about it. And like, I have mixed feelings towards this woman. I don't really want to go into that because that's a lot of trauma dumping, but not really trauma dumping. That's a lot of just personal dumping. But
Yeah.
she asked me like if I ever heard. So I literally a crush on Shawn Mendes because that was I've been listening to his music. Like this is before I really knew what ADHD was. So it was kind of like this is definitely me hyperfixating on his music. Looking back, that was me hyperfixating. But I was like, oh, I guess I'll just say this. So that kind of thing. Like he's like, I guess he looks nice. He has a nice voice. I really like. So that's what I did. I was like 14, 15. I just
Yeah.
didn't.
No, I get that.
So I was just like I definitely faked that. And I think my other weird thing too is like when I did that in middle school too. I faked a crush on. So I like kind of went like, yeah, I guess they're nice because my friends kept bugging me about this person. I was like, I guess, sure. So I kind of then I got embarrassed about it all the time. So everyone thought it was true.
Everybody kind of just expects you to develop crushes, I think, during school.
And then then you fake it.
Kind of like,
I know that's also a really big experience from. I know it's a really big experience for lesbians. Like not that any other identities have it too, but I know like, especially if you were biologically female, have that expectation pushed on you so much to have a crush on a man. So like I know that lesbians and aces have that like. Have a crush on a man. I know that's a really big shared experience.
And nobody ever says that to a guy. It's always just
like they kind of when the guy doesn't interest, they're like, oh, that's really weird, but they don't put that pressure on as much. At least that I've seen. I'm sure it happens. I know it does happen, but it's just definitely not as common. That's a societal thing.
Yeah, at most they'll be like, oh, that's a little sus, and then they'll shut up about it. They don't care.
Or they either shut up about it or they'll just keep pushing in your face. It really depends on who you're friends with.
That is true.
But no, and I remember in my first boyfriend. Oh my god, I'm not going in depth on him. But my friend set us up, and I kind of just forced myself to develop feelings. Like I don't know how to describe this, but like I went along with it. And I really regret going along with this because that was not a good relationship. But I definitely pushed myself into that situation. And I did that with my second boyfriend too. Which is why I'm really glad that my current partner happened really naturally. So it's like I didn't push myself, the things developed on their own. So it's like all of my previous relationships, I pushed myself to have these feelings. And that's just not a healthy mindset. You don't do that to yourself.
Yeah, and it kind of creates issues in like future relationships too.
Because like, and the thing too is like, I don't think the feelings were fake. I just pushed myself to develop them, and I don't know how to explain it other than that. Because it sounds like yes, I'm faking them, but I really wasn't faking them. They just weren't what I thought they were.
Yeah,
I guess.
No, I get that.
Yeah. Then my interest I would have discovered being ace with he was a weird experience. I don't really explain my experience with him, but he definitely wasn't weird about me being ace. My other partner was. The first partner I had, I didn't even touch that because I didn't really know what it was, and I pushed myself into a lot of situations. But and second partner was a little bit weird about it. Respected it, but was weird about it. And the one I just had the thing with when I realized I was ace really did respect that, so I don't know. But that was just a weird experience. I don't know how to explain. So overall,
Oh, LG Saito is in the chat. I thought I was bisexual when I hit puberty because I got attracted to a guy that had very feminine features. Then he grew a beard and immediately lost interest. Oh my god.
it could just be
Yeah,
that you
it's a
have an
complicated
attraction.
thing.
It's true, like sometimes because attraction's so weird. You might just be attracted to specific things.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where you
It-
get
it
into
really-
like micro labels.
Yeah, and I guess like just presentation and attraction in regards to that instead of
Yeah, that's where it goes in the gender thing.
Actual-
Is like gender identities, gender presentation. Like, I am constantly assumed to be female because of my voice. I present myself and everything like that. I'm not. Like, obviously, I'm biologically female, but I just present myself in a very feminine way because it's what I'm comfortable with.
yeah.
So that's a thing for some people too. Is how people present themselves. They don't care about the gender. They care about how they. I've definitely seen that before.
Yeah, I know. Okay, I know this is the Ace episode, but like, there is huge like pressure to be, I guess, androgynous when you're non-binary and stuff.
Oh my
Sucks.
god, yeah. I've had to push it into my brain so many times. You don't owe anyone androgen. Like,
Yeah,
that's the other thing too, and that's that you can still tie this into being ace. Like, when you're like people go like, well, what about when you have a partner? Because like that goes into the dysphoria thing too. Is like when you're not cis and you're ace, it's a super weird disconnect with your body. Like,
Hmm.
speaking of gender stuff, I finally reached the top of the waiting list. Hey, that's so congratulations. Happy for you.
All right, sorry about that, Chad. I'm back.
Dude, nice.
Oh, nice.
We talked about relationships.
Yeah, we kept it going. We kept the ball rolling. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. I don't know, and that's like with the whole. And then we kind of came back to the dysphoria thing, but I lost my train of thought again. Help.
One thing that's interesting is like, I don't know. Being on the asexual spectrum is so fucking confusing. Like,
Yeah.
the weirdest thing with me, right, is like I genuinely thought I was like demisexual as well as demi-romantic.
I've been there multiple times.
Because even with my last partner, I didn't start having like more sexual thoughts until much later in the relationship. And then my boyfriend comes along, and not even a week later, I'm like, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is happening here? Why? I thought I was ace.
Yeah. It's so confusing, and it's like again, I'm not gonna like trauma dump or anything like that, but like I have a lot of experiences around the ideas of sex, so it's like it doesn't help.
Yeah.
It doesn't help. Oh, speaking of that, misconception again about asexuals that really pisses me off is when people assume that you're ace because you have trauma around sex. That is extremely invalidating. And people with trauma, and the people who are asexual and have trauma around it. Like, it is so invalidating. Like, I remember, like, I mean, because it's again, not that it's not possible. I do know there's some people who might realize that they feel more this way because sexuality is fluid.
Yeah.
That they might feel this way because of trauma, and that's okay. Like, it really is okay. But like, as someone who has trauma and was already feeling this way before the trauma, it's super invalidating.
Yeah, like
I would argue because I didn't know what it was, I pushed myself into the trauma.
Honestly, I think I'm the exact same way with that. Like, cause I was never really interested in it when I was younger. Like, I never thought about it. And then, so kind of being, even though it was never physical, like being forced to be in certain situations, like, it just made it worse.
Yeah.
Like, it took a lot longer. Like, it took from when that all started to, about a year and a half ago. No, about, a year and a half ago. So about maybe 5 or 6 years to stop being like sex repulsed.
Yeah.
Like, and I just like once that happened, it like immediately just switched from sex repulsed to sex favorable.
That's so fair.
Funny
Like,
how that works sometimes.
So it's sexuality's no, like my thing with it is like I definitely pushed myself into situations I was not comfortable with. And I'm not gonna go like too in depth because like I don't know how comfortable, like I'm okay to an extent talking about my trauma with things. It's been a long time and I'm more comfortable talking about it in general, but I just don't know how in depth I should go on that. It's obviously I'm not gonna go like explicit, but where am I going with this? But no, like I'd argue like because I didn't know what asexual was, I didn't know what to do. Like I mentioned this earlier when you were with Aster because we were talking about faking crushes. Faking crushes on people. Yeah. I pushed myself to have feelings for 2 of my partners. And the first one I did was the one I had a traumatic relationship with. I pushed myself into a lot of situations I really done. And from my understanding with a lot of asexuals and arrows, this is a really common thing. You put yourself in situations that you're not comfortable with because you think it's normal.
Yeah.
Like that was my thought process through all that. Like this is what I'm supposed to do, right?
Yeah, and
no,
that's how
it's
I
not
was
what you're
with.
supposed to do.
I don't necessarily count him as an ex because I don't think we were really in a serious enough relationship for that. But that is how I was with one of my previous partners because like I said yes because like that was like one of the only times I had said yes just because I didn't know how to say no to them.
Yeah, that was kind of what happened.
I was not comfortable in the I was not really comfortable in the relationship. And then we kind of took a little bit of a break, and I started dating somebody else during that break. And then a few months later, he was like, "Hey, I figured some shit out. Do you want to get back together again?" It's like, and this was before I knew I was poly, and I was like, "No, I'm sorry, I already have a partner." But,
yeah, like, figuring out your poly is also a fun trip, but that's a different episode.
Yeah, but like one thing I will say is so I have been doing a lot of research, and I cannot remember what exactly it was called, but there is a label in the Arroways community where you don't feel romantic or sexual attractions to people until you know that they feel it towards you.
Oh, I've seen that label. I can't remember what it is.
And it makes so much sense because, like, with my first partner, I didn't realize I liked her back until she confessed to me. With literally every single one of my partners except for 2.
I've done that too. Like, but I did that with my partners. Like, I didn't feel anything towards them really until they confessed to me.
Yeah.
I never really had that. But at the same time, I also push myself to have the feelings. Well, like I said to Aster earlier, it's like I push myself to have the feelings. Like I wouldn't say I was faking feelings I had for my previous partners, but I would definitely say I pushed myself into them because I thought, well, they like me, aren't I supposed to return this kind of thing?
Yeah.
And like it's like everyone thinks we'd be good partners, which again, really unhealthy mindset.
In my personal experience, also, I'm changing my playlist really quick because this is
I have the stream muted. I can't even hear it.
Yeah, like one of the main things with me is like I can tell the difference versus when I'm like trying to force myself to feel the same way versus when someone confesses to me and all of the feelings just come rushing towards me. Like that's kind of how it is. Like if there's somebody, like, most of the people that I've dated, I always thought I just never thought about them that way before. But in fact, it was just, I never thought about that way because I, at the time, didn't have feelings, and then they confess, and then, I actually do have feelings. But there's a difference between the feeling with that versus the feeling with, I should like them back.
Yeah, and I'd say for at least one of the partners, like, because, like, technically, so let me put it this way. I had my first partner, I had a person that I realized as Ace, the person I mentioned earlier when I realized with Ace, I had a weird thing with him my entire junior year. I don't know how to explain that. It was just weird. I usually just say, like, a fling, even though this doesn't really fit it, but it was a really back and forth thing. We never actually dated. But,
Yeah.
And then my senior year was my second partner. I'd argue my first partner, I put more pressure on myself to have the feelings because I had people pushing us together. Like saying, oh, you two would be great partners. You two, like, this thing. Like, it was my best friend at the time, and I know it did not harm. And I'd honestly argue she regrets doing that. Like, we don't talk anymore, really, because we both have busy lives. But every instance I got from her after that, she regretted pushing me into that relationship because it was just not healthy. But so it's like, and she definitely meant well. That's what I'm saying. Essentially, she meant well, but it didn't help my own feelings that I wasn't aware of how to handle. Not that she knew. Like, I'm not blaming her at all for that. But with my second partner, I think I did the same thing. Like, I was more like, he mentioned stuff to me about liking me, and I just kind of went, oh shit.
Yeah.
And then with the person I had the fling with, that one I would say was more like I actually did have some kind of feeling, but I definitely pushed myself into that too. Every single one of my previous partners, I pushed myself somehow into having feelings for them. Again, not faking, but meanwhile with my current partner, I think it was probably the most natural progression of a relationship I've ever had.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like me with my current partner is like, this is the most unusual. Like, this is not in my pattern of relationships at all. Like, before that, I was like, yeah, I'm demi-romantic. Like, yeah, I want a relationship so bad, but it takes me like 5 months at least before I feel any kind of romantic attraction towards anyone. And then I get my job at McDonald's, and and he trains me, and
you're like,
the fucking day I met him, I was like, why the fuck do I have feelings? What the fuck is this?
And you're like, what is attraction?
But
I don't know what this is.
It also goes to show that it is a spectrum. It is fluid.
Mm-hmm.
Like there can always be exceptions.
Bro, you're talking about your feelings here? Gross. Get out of here with that. It's illegal. God. You can't be happy. Ew.
And the other thing, too, with, like, feelings, and, like, because I'm that person, like, I'd argue sexuality as a whole is very, very fluid, because just different life experiences, how you view the world, there's all sorts of things that can go into.
Sexuality is so much, like, unless you're gender fluid or things like that, sexuality is genuinely way more fluid than gender.
Yeah. My gender is way more complicated than my sexuality, but even still, like, gender and sexuality are very fluid, but sexuality is definitely more fluid than gender, because everything depends on your life experiences.
My sexuality, I nailed it down really quickly, and then, like, several years later, I got to the gender part, and I was like, I have no fucking clue, dude.
Yeah.
What is gender? Like, I've just gone to the point where I use, like, 3 labels for my sexuality, and then there's, like, 7 for my gender.
Like, I know
my gender, and I was like, question mark.
It's like, I'm either a demi-boy or a trans man, and then, oh god, let's see. There's gray sexual, demi-romantic, pansexual, polyamorous,
Oh my god, I forgot poly. No, like, I have 4 that I use. Like, because I gave up trying to define the ace and arrow, so I just say I'm an drums, like, because I'm like, I'm done trying to define that. That's too many. Then like people like, well, do you like boys or girls? I'm like, yes.
Yeah. One of the
and then you put the poly.
one of the funniest things with me is like my journey through being like in the gay community is like I thought I was a cis lesbian, and then I thought I was cis bi, and then I was like,
So it's,
and then
there's
I thought
always
I
like
was,
a middle part there.
Oh
and
my
then I
god.
thought I was non-binary bi, and now non-binary pan, and then I think right now it's trans gay,
God.
not
Yeah, I'd
including
say,
all of the various arrow ace shit.
like, if I was to define my, but
You cut out.
it, but
Yeah, a little bit.
okay.
Oof.
If I was to define my identity, this is usually ask. Is asexual spectrum queer? Because I don't know how to define the other side of attraction. There, I just like
Yeah.
people. Like, leave me alone. But if people
It's
aren't
just
okay
like-
with queer, and if I'm talking community, I'm not. If they're not in the LGBT community, I'm not gonna say I'm queer. I'm gonna say like bi or pan, depending on how I'm feeling at the moment. Or I just won't say anything. I'll just say ace or arrow.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then like my gender identity, that's a aesthetic flux. I like me. I had a I had a crisis. There's like 7 of them. My partner suggested I make bracelets for how I'm feeling, and I'm like, I probably will do that eventually.
Yeah.
Bracelets are fun. Even just like the bi and pan labels are
Yeah.
confusing. I don't know which one I am. I just use bi
Yeah.
because it's more familiar. to
And
me.
and this is one
Yeah.
of the things that like I've probably brought this up every single episode. But back at my LGBT youth group, back in my hometown, we had like all of these rules that were like posted all over the walls, and one of the rules was basically labels are for food. And the whole premise behind that is you can label yourself however you want. You don't have to have a label if you don't want one, and you
Mhm.
cannot let other people label yourself.
That's actually how the AVEN community forums work. There's a rule on the forums: do not try to label anyone else. Like even if you're helping someone around, say, let's say,
Like, I feel like the only exception possibly would be like questioning like what they might be and asking for advice.
Yeah,
And people can
that's
say, well,
exactly,
you might
yeah.
be this, but I'm not saying you are this.
It's a whole thing with like, giving advice versus shoehorning them into that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you could be this or that if you want to like look into more options or do research and find things out, if that helps. But I'm not defining
hear
you and
me?
saying, yes, I can hear you.
okay, I unplugged my mic again by accident.
Whoops.
We're gonna move the cord over here. Okay, continue. Sorry.
But yeah, it's like that's the whole main thing with that, really. Just
Yeah, it's like the only exception, like I'd say, is like you might be this, and that was the only exception. That you cannot label someone else; they can only label
Yeah.
themselves.
Yeah.
Because some people aren't comfortable with labels, some people don't know what to label themselves. Some people, like me, have an excessive amount of labels. So it's like
Oh, for sure.
it's yeah, that's definitely a dependent thing. And yeah, you do bring up your that club, that community thing you're in
yeah.
every time. Hey, that's my partner.
Oh shit.
Cool.
Yeah.
Hey, hello.
Well, thank you, Athena's partner, for the follow.
Yeah. Hiya.
Yeah, it's like
Um,
it's just an interesting community to say the least.
yeah.
Real
And
quick,
they-
Athena's
it was my-
partner. Legally, you have to tell an embarrassing story about them now.
No,
I hope you know.
no,
I'm listening.
no. They might not talk in chat. They are not hugely comfortable
no.
around a bunch
That's
of people.
fine.
But,
Lurkers are completely
Then it
valid
goes
and
both
welcome.
ways. It goes both
anyway.
ways then. Athena, you can also tell an embarrassing story about them. Opportunity.
See, my first thing I would go to is one that I probably get murdered because of their typos in chat. It gets really bad. Anyway, I was gonna say this is the thing because we were talking about when you mentioned, like cis lesbian, right? Cis het aces get treated like shit by
Oh
some
my
parts of the
God.
community.
It fucking sucks.
Like-
Oh, yeah.
Saying this as someone,
Huge
right?
gatekeeping.
Because like I said, my first crisis was the asexuality. So I was still cis, I was still het. Like that was what I still is, even though we all know that I'm not. So when I remember going and looking, I was told by the AVN community, do not go look on Tumblr's tag for asexual discourse. Don't do it, you will trigger yourself. Because at the time I was looking, the discourse on the asexual asex discourse tag on Tumblr was so toxic.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
there were so many ace phobes. It was bad.
And so many people are
it's-
trying to gatekeep the queer community. Like, like the dumbest shit I hear is like, that's literally what the A stands for.
No, when
And
they try to
people
say
try
A
to
stands for
argue-
ally, I'm like, no, it doesn't.
Like, allies
literally.
are not a part of the fucking community.
No, they're
It,
not.
it stands
Like,
for aromantic, asexual.
it stands for ace, arrows, and agender. If you really like, even though agender is technically under the trans, people often say agender is also for.
Yeah, and it's
So it's
like,
like-
it's so bullshit. Like, it doesn't matter if you're a
is really
cishet.
weird.
Like, if you're still on the arrow spectrum,
Because the
you're
cishet
still
experience, a cishet ace or arrow, like say cishet, like that is
you
an
just cut
experience
out.
that is. My
sorry.
mic
Yeah,
today.
the most
I'm gonna kill
important
my mic
part.
today.
Is
My
it
mic
your
today.
Oh, man.
try lowering your gate thing?
Yeah, that might help.
Voice and video.
Or the noise suppression. Noise gate, that's what it's called.
I don't. Okay. I tried. We'll see how that works. But
Okay.
the thing too is like with cishet, so like either cishet, so like heteros, right? Did I just cut out again?
A
I
little
watched
bit.
the green flash.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw someone out the window. The heterosexual, heteromantic, so cishet, whatever, right? Both arrow ace side. It's like it's such a different experience from being just straight and cis. Like you can't. It's not the same experience. Like
Yeah.
it's just not. It's like you
Because,
can't
like-
gatekeep that because it's not. It's like well, it's just normal. You're just normal. You can blend. It's like
Like, and it's bullshit because people, like, I hate to say that. I feel like I'm lucky with the fact that I'm also gay and trans because they can't kick me out of the queer community for being like asexual or aromantic.
yeah, and like
Like
yeah, that was
and
my
it's to
first
the point
experience
where
with LGBT.
people straight up feel like a lot of people I've met have said that they're lucky that there are other things in the community, or else like the aphobia that they received would have been so much worse. And like
Yeah, like it's
It-
already
it-
bad
it's
enough just in general, but it's even worse for.
yeah, and it's like
Yeah, and like there's this weird feeling of like, oh, you're not queer enough.
Mhm.
like the whole
Exactly.
the whole thing with having the LGBT community is to make sure people don't get excluded, because we were already excluded enough as it was from
Exactly.
the normal people or whatever. And so the
Like,
fact
the
that
thing
LGBT people are doing the same thing for people who are arrow and ace is so
Mm-hmm.
hypocritical.
Yeah, no, they do it. They do the pan people too. Like I'm not disagreeing that it happens to bi and pan, but it happens so much worse to aces and arrows. Like I am
Mhm.
not trying to erase any other struggles of any other identity, but aces and arrows get it so bad. Arrows worse than this. Like it's only recently the arrows are really trying to separate themselves from the ace community as their own community. It's
Yeah.
bad. Like I've seen so many people talk about aces, and it's like, oh yeah, what about arrows? Like
Like, do
The
they
other
not,
side of
do
the
they
ace
not
community?
realize how fucking hypocritical that is?
they don't. And so it's like it's just I don't know. It's just so can't. It's just the gatekeeping gets really really bad.
It really is. And like,
Yeah, there's a
fandom
ridiculous
gatekeeping is
amount
one
of
thing, but
discourse
like,
within the community.
yeah, trying to
Well,
like
fandom-
gatekeep from actual communities is bullshit. Like, come
Fandom
on.
gatekeeping is also stupid, but like
Let us have a safe space.
no, yeah, and it's like that's why like the asexual and make their
You're
wealth.
cutting out again.
Yeah.
This mic is going to murder me.
So
I wonder what's wrong with it, but that's why like the aces and Eric like make their own communities and safe spaces because they were getting gatekeep so much and they still get it.
And it's awful. Like, I don't understand people.
I've also seen like, and this is going into like labels and identities, but it's also the same thing with neopronouns and xenogenders and stuff like that. It's like people like, well, that's just stupid. They're all just making up sexuality. They're labels under a bigger community
Yeah.
that are more defining. That's why, like, and I've explained this to people who don't quite understand but are trying to. It's like, it's kind of like saying, this is something more for you and how you identify and people in your community, but you're not going to necessarily use that outside of the community because someone else might not understand because they're not involved in it. Like, I don't necessarily explain my xenogenders to people because they're not going to grasp it. I like say, yes, I'm this, but I'll also go at the same time and say I'm non-binary or I'm a, because people know those terms more. It's just easier.
oh, yeah. It's just more common terminology and shit. Yeah.
The microphone is gatekeeping certain words.
Oh, absolutely.
But also, like, one of the biggest things that comes with it is people just aren't educating themselves. Even people inside of the community. Like,
yeah.
And it sucks because, like, I try to be as educated as I can be. I used to be really educated back when I was at my youth group because I used to like present in panels and I had to be educated and all of that. But like a lot of people in the community, they do education about their own labels, but they don't even bother to try learning about the other things.
Exactly. And that's the problem.
And obviously
It's
this
like
doesn't go for everyone because a lot of like some people do actually like try to open up their knowledge, even people who aren't in the community.
It's kind of one of those things that's the really loud minority thing again that don't do it, and that's all you see. So you're just like, and then when they try to talk over other issues too, like that's a huge problem too, is they try to talk over each other's issues. Well, this is my issue. Like, we should be a united front. Why are we fighting?
Yeah, and another thing that actually sucks, and like this isn't even just with Arroways people. This is with everyone, like every community that I've seen. People who are LGBT, and like people that are on Twitter tend to, from what I've seen, be a lot more harsh about things. But like, if you I dare you to go outside, go to like a gay club or like a gay, like if you're old enough, a gay bar, Pride Fest, and see all those generations of queer people. See all the generations, like in the
I've
diversity.
seen a lot of people on Tumblr talk about it too, like because Tumblr's queer community is a lot older than Twitter's, I'd argue.
Yeah.
Like not just in ages, but just as long as it existed. Tumblr's definitely been the place where that was the community, where it really started to grow in comparison to Twitter, because of the formatting. But a lot of people on Tumblr have complained about how freaking bad Twitter is at times. Like, I like Twitter, I'm on Twitter, but I don't use it for learning and educating about things. Like, I will look at things, if things pop up in my timeline, I'll look at it and I'll try to learn about it. Of course I will. I'm not stupid. I'm not heartless. I'm not going to ignore it. But the thing is with Twitter is that these people are expecting you. They're coming. Okay, this is an example I like you said. You have different levels in how much you know about them. They're coming at you with a level 10 while you're a level 2.
Yeah.
Like, they're expecting you to have the same knowledge. Like, that's not how that works. They're expecting you to have the same experience. It's not how it works. That's the problem with Twitter for everything. Like, just everything. Everything political, religious, just social things, sexuality, gender. They're coming at you most of the time as a level 10. that's not how it works. You can't work that way because that's
And-
why you chase away people. That's how you make people really uncomfortable with things and not want to talk about or don't know how to learn.
And it's one of those things that, like,
Yeah.
next time I have a podcast, I, at least for maybe not the next episode, but definitely for one of the bigger episodes, I want to have some people that mainly use Tumblr, and I want to have some people that mainly use Twitter, and then maybe have some people that don't really use either, that are more people that
Reddit or
interact with,
something like that.
like real life. Like, people who
That would be a
are-
really
don't
fun
spend a-
episode.
like, because it would be interesting to see how, like,
Different the experiences are.
yeah, like how different the experiences are from Twitter, from Tumblr, from real life, because everyone's
Yeah.
gonna have different experiences, because everyone tends to, like, mold their beliefs and things based on the people that they surround themselves with.
Yep, that
like,
is how
the
people work.
perception of,
Yep.
like the community depending on the social media that they most frequently use. And,
One of
like,
the
how
funniest
social
things,
media
though-
kind of affects it.
One of the funniest things to me though is when you see a post circulate around, like all the, like you see a post from Tumblr get to Twitter, then get to Instagram, then to get to Reddit, and then back
Or-
to Tumblr
Or Facebook.
or Facebook. Facebook's the more rare because that's mostly older generation. Like I don't see many younger people using Facebook.
I still
Everybody
sometimes
uses
use it
Facebook.
when I have to, but other than that,
I literally only use Facebook to message.
I only use Facebook because I needed to make a new account for Oculus.
That is so fair.
But yeah, it's like I when I had my lesbian episode, for example, there were a lot of topics that were talked about, like, on that episode. But the thing is, every single guest I had were Twitter users. And I have seen a lot of the points that they fought against being brought up in favor of on Tumblr. It's like, that's one of the main reasons I've been thinking about that, because, like, it's interesting to see that difference. Like, the thing that Twitter tends to, like, hate and say that you're not a real lesbian for things, meanwhile Tumblr is like, you're still valid.
Yeah, like I said, Tumblr's LGBT age and just how long it's been there.
Yeah.
And it's the way that Tumblr works too makes it much easier to have discussions about things than with Twitter.
Because you don't have to limit yourself to like certain characters.
Like you don't have to limit yourself to a character. And then like another thing too with Twitter is like Twitter you can do threads and stuff like that, but Twitter is harder to share information, which is really funny considering how Twitter like brands itself, but Twitter is really hard to share. Which is why
Twitter's there for discourse. It's easy to create discourse, not spread
Oh, yeah.
actual information.
Exactly. Like Twitter, like that's why I really only things that I need to know
Yeah.
or my fandoms. Like that's why I've curated my time so specifically. Like I did this with my Tumblr too. Tumblr's a lot easier to do that with though because you can when you blacklist tags and words, it actually works a
Right? Who would have thought?
Yeah.
You can just
weird. It's like a
mute
tagging
words.
like I have a really big issue with like Tumblr and how their staff runs things, but Tumblr is a lot better than Twitter in that sense.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Tumblr I think is interesting because you're exposed to a lot less things because just because of the algorithm, you know what I mean? You can literally
And you can control your algorithm a lot better than Twitter.
yeah.
The main thing with
You can
Tumblr
put it
though
to,
is
a
like
single small circle.
when you join a new fandom or community on Tumblr, it's a lot harder to find the right people to follow.
That's true,
That
yeah.
is true. Yeah,
It's
that's
basically
for sure.
recommendations.
Yeah.
That's why like I follow tags usually. Tags rather than people.
Yeah.
But that's a
Also-
different topic.
Also, chat, just putting this out there again, if you guys have any questions, like, mostly questions for, like, Arrow or Ace things, please leave them, in chat if you want it to be addressed. We're not experts, but we all have quite a few years of experience in being Ace.
Well, yeah. I wouldn't say I'm an
a
expert.
little
Like I
less
said,
experienced,
earlier, is like I am an admin on an Ace blog. So we talk about things, we help people on this. This is on Tumblr. I'm an admin on that. Granted, a lot of us have been busy, so I don't know how many asks have been dealt with, but point stands. I'm an admin there. Like, I have been in the Tumblr Ace community. Like, I wouldn't say I'm actively in it, but I'm definitely involved, and I've looked at things. Rip Alex. I was on Aven, which is the, for those who don't know what Aven is the Aven is where the asexual communities started. Asexual area communities both came from Aven. It literally stands for Asexual Visibility Education. That's what it stands for. It is
nice. Okay.
Their forums are literally where I so much about my identity, asexuality. If you're curious about it, like whether as like you think you might be ace or aro, or you just want to know more, go to the communities, go to Aven. The forum there. So much information. It is so helpful. I'm a VIP. I can send links, right?
I think so.
I'm gonna Aven.
If not, I guess you can just bracket the periods. Yeah.
Yeah. We're gonna try and send this. I mean, it's not. Well. Okay, well, I tried. I tried.
Oh well. We can work it out later, I guess.
Wait. I'm gonna break the system.
You're gonna break the system? Let's go. Always up for a little bit of.
I broke the system.
Whoa, no way! Hacker voice, we're in.
We're in. Anyway,
Okay.
I highly recommend going there, even just to learn, because there is an entire community around. That's where the community started. Like, genuine. That is where it started. At least on the internet presence. Obviously, asexuality has been a thing for longer than the internet, but that is where the internet community started, and there's so much information there. So, like that, yeah, like if we can't answer any questions you have, someone there probably has. Is essentially what I'm saying. Stop posting links. Well, I wanted to post a link. But yeah, questions. Do we have any questions? Topics?
Any questions?
I'm losing my
As
train
we
of
wait
thought.
for Alex.
Alex disappeared again.
Before I divert to talking about the Tumblr algorithm and how bad it is. Whoa, a cheer! Jesse, J Steor?
Yeah.
Thanks for the 1,000 bits. I
Hey,
will
guess
thank
what?
you for Alex.
Hey, guess what?
Because he's not here.
Hey, guess what? That's my partner.
Oh! Hello. Very poggers.
Always the poggers. I was like, hey, guess what? But yeah, does anyone in the chat have any specific questions? I know we just
chilling.
at this point.
We could be just chilling at this point.
Well, I'm trying to think of something else I want to talk about, because there's a lot. Like, this is just such a really.
It's a big topic, yeah.
It's a big topic, yeah, and we've only barely talked. I'm trying to like sit comfortable and not kill my back. It's not going very well.
Oh, yeah. So I've been hunched over this whole time because I'm just at my desk.
I'm literally using a pillow instead of the wall. Using pillows. Pillow throne.
I should probably prop up my computer. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Probably.
I am back. Hello.
Just to make
Welcome back.
Oh,
my
shit.
partner
Thank you
donated.
so much for the 1,000 bits.
Yeah, my partner donated bits. Let's go.
Oh my god, that is $1 towards helping me fund my hormone therapy.
Let's go.
Oh, by the way, this is
Nice.
not related to the podcast at all. But this morning, I impulsively got an HRT subscription. So I'm getting my first shot of testosterone in a couple weeks.
Yo.
It's also extremely expensive, so every single sub-bit donation will all go towards helping me cover that.
Let's go.
This is your free Prime advertisement. Everybody go Prime. Everybody go Prime. Just check. Check if you have it. You know what I mean?
You
Yeah.
might not even know you have it. Just remember, great religion.
And even then, it's very easy to make a new one. To make a new Prime. Steal money from Jeff
Oh.
Bezos.
Okay, I need to set it to where Nightbot, I swear to God, VIPs should be allowed to send links.
Oh.
I just was trying to send the events. I tried.
Woof, oof. But yeah,
Yeah,
so
I was.
what were you
Yeah, I
guys
was sending
talking
that.
about?
We were just waiting for questions to be asked. Really.
Oh, thank you so much again. Thank you so
Wow.
much.
Hey, are you dating a billionaire and you just didn't tell us?
No, I'm not.
Hey, can we get a hype train in?
Oh shit, we might. We fucking might. Goddamn.
Listen, explain what Jace and I do. Jace is my partner, right? They put their name in the thing, so I'm gonna say their name. We straight up will just buy each other shit. So it's like we're not like rich by any means, but it's definitely how we like show affection.
Oh yeah, no, I'm the same way. Like, I am about to go fucking broke on Christmas because I'm about to fucking send every single friend that I have an address for a gift.
Like, so Dream had his limited 27 million hoodie, right? And I was
Mhm.
sitting there like, oh no, I'm not going to be able to get it because I'm not going to have the money in time, or I don't know. Jace is like, how much is it? Sends me $80, but I got the hoodie.
Ooh, nice.
Nice.
We got the
Aw.
hoodie.
Dude,
We got the hoodie.
I am still low-key ashamed of how much money I spent on Rambo merch. Not to mention the fact that I've almost gifted 100 subs and I've donated a lot of money to Rambo. I'm like, that man has
It's fine, don't
probably
worry
already
about it.
gotten almost $1,000 for me at this point, but
Boy.
It's okay. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Don't
Simply
even
do
worry.
not think about it. Yeah.
Don't think about it. Don't think
but
about
yeah,
it. It's
no,
fine. Wait, if you make I post the link correctly, it'll work this time. Nope. I tried.
Oh,
Here.
you're timed out? Oh my god.
For 10 minutes.
Nightbot transphobic.
Nightbot is transphobic.
oh my god,
Thank you.
thank you so much.
216.
Jace is just on a roll.
Oh yeah. This
Uh,
is single-handedly funding this podcast episode.
it was like that one time. Yeah, I've done that. Single-handedly donated so much. Yeah, sometimes you just do it.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of other topics because nobody's like asking questions. So I'm like,
One thing that's interesting is like this is my personal experience. I'm not in any way saying this about anyone else in the community. Is one of the main things that is aphobic is, well, you just think that you're ace because you haven't met the right person yet. And in my experience, while yes, that is true, that can also sometimes fluctuate depending on certain people that you meet. So like in my case, I feel like I did actually meet the right person. But again, this is
but,
my
like,
personal situation, not about
the thing
anyone
with
else. It is
that-
still an extremely aphobic thing to say.
The thing too with
Yeah.
that is like even if you do meet the right person, that doesn't change the fact that you're ace.
Yeah,
you
like
can just meet the
I'm
person
still,
that's right for you.
like, and I'm
you
still
know?
ace. Like there's nothing doubting that. I'm still definitely ace.
Yeah, it's
But
like
yeah.
people just go like, oh, but you know, it's like, no, I don't know. What do you mean?
Yeah, and it's
It's like,
like
you'll meet the right person. It's like that
Like,
doesn't change
y-
my sexuality.
like,
Like that's
yes,
not how that
I-
works.
yes, I feel like I have met the right person, and yes, I may be more sex favorable than I used to be, but that doesn't erase the fact that I'm still ace. I'm still gonna have
Exactly.
those times where I'm not really feeling it or not really wanting to have sex, not because like, oh, that's normal, because I'm still ace.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
like
yeah,
it
sure.
comes down to the idea like how I cut out again, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Sorry.
I don't even know. It's
I-
like
Okay, completely off topic, but you know how there's that whole thing with ADHD where you completely forget about something if you don't see it?
Yeah.
I have pizza and I forgot.
Dude, you ordered that forever ago.
I still have 3 slices left.
Oh my god, dude.
Yeah. Sounds about
Anyway,
right.
back on topic.
The thing is too is
Hey, hold
like it's
on.
a,
Alex, you were talking about ordering that pizza back when we were in a VC before this podcast, talking about lore plans. That was hours ago. Dang, that was hours ago. That was. Hold on. Let me check.
No,
That was 8
no one saw
hours
what
ago.
happened. No one saw what happened. Nothing happened.
It's
I
8 hours ago. Hours.
good job.
I forgot about your pizza for 8 hours.
In my defense, I got full.
Work day. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
My god.
Anyway, my thing too with like the whole like, oh well you haven't met the right person, it's just like you
Oh.
as a like even like
Thank you.
even if we take away the whole like asexual aspect of it, it's like you can just not be ready for sex. You can just not
Yeah.
want to ever have it, and not you don't even have to be like, oh yeah, I'm asexual, and you can still decide I don't have it. That's where it comes down to the terms I read off earlier, like this negative stuff like that. Really
Yeah.
should be part of the entirety of relationships, not the asexuality and the
Yeah.
romantic communities, because it applies to so many people. But the thing is too is just like our society is so I cut out again. Our society is so sexual. It's just like sex does
Everywhere.
not equal romance. It is not the same thing as romance.
Like, you
And
can have
that
sex
is-
without romance, and you can have romance without sex.
Yeah, and the idea that you have to have sex in your romantic relationship is so toxic and so
It really
unhealthy.
is. Like,
Communication about like boundaries with sex is always important, even if you're not on the A spectrum. It's just
exactly.
general-
Because, like, even if you're not ace, you could still be like, there is this thing called not being ready, like you said. Like,
Yeah.
and
I tried turning on my noise suppression, by the way, so did it not work?
Well, you cut off there, so I'm guessing no.
but yeah, no.
'Kay. I give up. That's where I'm at.
Oh no.
I forgot what I was gonna say. Something about
Matt.
ace. Something about being ace.
Oh
You're
no,
not being ready
really?
for it.
That's crazy. That's so off topic.
Sometimes you're just not ready. That was the last thing you said.
Oh yeah. So, like, sometimes you're not ready, and at the end of the day, it can all boil down to the person. Like,
Mhm.
because sometimes people can't say that they're not ready for sex until they meet the right person, and and that could be harmful to the ace community, because it gives a stigma that, like, even it's a complicated matter, because even if they identify as ace, if that suddenly goes away when they find that they meet the right person, it can create this harmful stigma towards people who are ace.
Mhm.
And
And like
even
like
after
we've
they
been
meet the right
saying, it's
person,
like it's
so that
totally
still doesn't
valid
go
that they
away.
might feel differently about
Yeah,
it too. Like it's
like,
totally
and-
valid if your identity changes, but it doesn't help the outside of the community looking
Yeah.
at us.
yeah,
Like, again, not that it's invalid. It's just
yeah, it's not invalid, it just doesn't. Yeah.
Jace.
Thank you.
Dang, Jace. Okay. Jace is going to fund your whole transition, apparently.
But let's get some gifted subs in here. Get that hype train rolling.
Oh my god.
I would actually cry if that happened.
Don't mind me. I'm not doing anything.
Oh.
I'm not doing anything.
Sure.
Nope. Not doing a single thing. Don't know what you're talking about. Nope. No idea.
You are already.
Oh. Well, I got one of those, so thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh god, a hype
Thank
train
you.
is
I'm
close.
now sub.
Hey Jace, you want to use some bits or gift a sub?
Oh god. Oh wait, I'm a sub now. Oh, there we go.
Oops.
Oops, you say. Oops, you
Oops.
say. Oh god.
Oops.
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 See, this is always the part it gets stuck at. It never gets past this part. This is...
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Run, run.
Don't worry about it. Jason and I both just sitting there on our computers. Let's go.
Oh boy.
So anyway.
There's another. Okay. 4 bits.
Oh.
You know, every bit counts. 2 bits is also good.
How many more bits does it need?
it's on
Honestly.
the easy. It's on the easiest level.
What does it need?
Does it need more
Hype
subs?
trains are really weird.
It
I
says
don't know.
subs, gifts or bids. What does it need?
Dude, there have been so many this stream. I don't know how we're not getting it.
I don't know.
Hype trains are
Mhm.
weird.
Hype trains are really weird.
Trains are
I
really
remember
weird.
on Pink Zombies stream 3, me and 5 hype train. It was really bad. Yeah, I don't know why it needs more. But what were we saying before we got distracted?
I have no idea.
If you'd like to know exactly what it takes to start a hype train on your favorite streamer's channel, just ask a streamer or moderator. They'll likely get your answer from them. I don't fucking know.
Oh, you can check your settings. You can check your settings under affiliate, I believe.
Account settings.
I don't know what your kickoff threshold is, but I put mine to the minimum.
Yeah, mine's the minimum.
Well, the minimum is 3, I think.
I don't know. Like, I mean,
Yours.
6 subs were donated.
What was I gonna say? Oh, yes. It's different from level goals, which are easy. Kickoff thresholds are different, I think.
I don't even know.
Support of... Yeah. Yeah, it's...
You're getting a
Valley
little
was-
off track, but
yeah,
it's okay.
it's currently at... Okay, so it's saying... Choose how many events must occur within a 5 minute... Okay. So I'm guessing there needs to be... At least... Okay, I'm guessing maybe... 200...
Minho
like,
says hi.
I'm guessing it's 2 separate 100 bits? Or like like...
weird.
Okay, watch this
Your
then.
kitten says hi?
Oh god. So it's I'm guessing it's either another 100 bits or another like some gifted subs. I don't fucking know. I've never had a
trying
hype
one
train
more
You're
bit.
getting
before.
educated on the hype trains, chat. You're getting educated on the hype trains.
I tried one more bits. Did it work?
Oh.
Nope.
I'm guessing that's so weird.
One more
What?
person. Oh, it needs to be another person.
That's why.
Aster?
Hold on, give me a sec.
Hurry, you got 47 seconds.
I have 47 seconds? No,
Yeah.
really? Oh my god. Okay, hold on.
You cannot cheer on your own channel. Fuck you.
Really? Rip.
But there we go.
There it is. We got him. Amazing. It was a team effort.
We got it.
Thank you.
Come here.
Congrats to Ariumu for,
Oh, shit.
you know.
I am 9 away from my sub goal.
Really? Nice.
Hmm.
It's automatically a level 3 hype train. Just because of how many bits you guys donated. Goddamn.
She's making a cameo on the stream.
Aww.
And there she goes.
Yeah,
Her pussy was a very good cameo on the stream.
Yep.
Always glad to see it. Glad to see it.
I forgot what we were saying before.
Mainly about how, like, you're valid if your identity changes, but
Oh, but it doesn't
there
help
are
the-
some, yeah, there are some cases, like, no matter what, it's gonna be valid. But it doesn't
Yeah.
help the people who already have their stigmas looking in.
Yeah, because there's a lot of misconceptions around it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Like,
it's mostly just like a lack of education regarding the
Mhm.
subject.
Which we can go on that to
because
like
a lot
little
of people,
representation there's in media.
think all asexuality is just not liking sex.
Which it's not. It's way more
But,
complicated.
Yeah, it is so fucking complicated. It's like as I've said before, I like sex. I don't have sexual attraction.
Mm-hmm. It's like I don't look at this person and go, oh, they're hot. Like I don't do that for most people.
Yeah, it's like they're aesthetically pleasing to me.
Yeah.
Like in my
Like, I just-
opinion, there's a huge difference between hot and cute. Hot
Yeah,
is
like,
someone you
'cause-
want to
'cause,
fuck.
like-
Cute is someone that you think looks really good.
Yeah, I agree. Especially because cute can also just go really different directions too with a lot of things like that.
Yeah.
Like you're literally thinking you find them adorable. Like that's what you're thinking. When you're saying, oh, this person's cute. You think they're adorable in some way, which you can use that for literally anything.
Exactly. With hot, on the other hand, like saying someone is hot is basically you saying, "Oh, I'd fuck them," in a sense.
It's a lot more sexually charged.
Mhm.
Definitely.
and like and it's not
Which-
necessarily just because of what the word means. Sorry, there's crumbs all over my seat. I wonder why. But like, it's not because the word
Maybe it was
itself
that
is
pizza you forgot
inherently a
about.
sexual thing. It's the
Yeah.
fact that people seem to over-sexualize a word.
Agree.
Oh,
yeah.
Sure.
Well, and
I
that
didn't
just comes
even know
back
that hot meant. I didn't even know that hot necessarily had a sexual connotation until like.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't really know that until I got like I was like, why is this word about temperature or sexual? Like I didn't understand. I still don't really quite get it.
Like I understood that there was a distinction between hot and cute, but I didn't like understand the
It's
connotation.
just kind of like you're just kind of like, what is why?
Yeah.
Why?
It's like, for
Yeah.
example, I never understood whenever people would say that certain like YouTubers are hot or whatever. Like, what I don't know what you mean, but I would definitely agree whenever somebody said that other YouTubers were cute.
Oh, I'll make the like I'll like agree and like be like, oh no, it's just like my mic. I use hot like as a slang term a lot because that's what it is. I use it
Yeah.
personally, but I don't necessarily think about them in that way if I'm referring
Yeah,
to a
like
person.
I say hot a lot, but I
Yeah.
never mean it that way.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, that's hot, or like, oh, they're hot. I don't necessarily mean it in a sexual way because I don't quite get it. I'm just using it as a slang.
Yeah.
A slang term.
What
My mic today.
Slightly change the subject if that's all right.
For
So something that I've been meaning to bring up all episode, and I like keep forgetting about it, keep getting distracted, is that like tying back with the whole thing with asexuality and dysphoria can have a lot in common. When I was younger,
It's my time.
When I was a lot younger, whenever once I found out how children were made, like when I found out like
that it wasn't the stork.
when I basically found out that you needed to have sex to have a child, I was A, uncomfortable by it because dysphoria, and B, I was disgusted by it. It's like uncomfortable and disgusted were very different, and that's a realization I had today, like during this stream, because I realized I realized that I wasn't just uncomfortable when I was a kid. I was flat out disgusted. Like I thought the idea of having sex to create life was gross.
Yeah, I think I can relate to this to an extent too. It's just kind of like, because like I said, I had a really confusing gender identity travel path journey. That's the word I'm looking for. So like, but kind of looking back when you find out that, oh, you have to have sex to have kids. First of all, like I grew up never really wanting my own kids. Like I always explicitly said to my mom, I'm like, if I'm going to have kids, I'm going to adopt. And, like my mom never really my mom never really like discouraged that or anything like that, which I'm really grateful for. Like she understood that was my thought. She understood I just didn't have that interest in it, and like that's one of the reasons I should have realized I was ace earlier. just
honestly, yeah.
It's just like, because like again, yeah, some people just don't want kids. And that's okay. It has nothing to do with asexuality. That's totally fine. But the idea of this was also really where I should have learned too that I had less interest in men than I thought I did. Specifically, you know, the equipment. Not necessarily men, but the equipment.
Yeah.
The equipment.
I have to specify that because like I don't necessarily have a problem with men as an attraction. It's their equipment. Which that one's probably partially trauma related, but still. It's the equipment.
Yeah, and like there you can't have sexual, like, for example, you can be attracted to only like trans women or cis men because of like sexual attraction and like what you want in bed.
Like, yeah, exactly. There's nothing wrong with that, except you know when you're doing something like super straight to be like exclusionary.
Yeah.
Don't even get me started on that. Like, it's like I understand what you're saying, but that's not how that works. Anyway.
Like, you can just say you don't want to date trans people because of your sexual preference. That in itself is not transphobic. But
there's nothing wrong with that.
That's a whole other can of worms, but...
that's a different episode. But, like, it's just, like... And that was one of the things that really should have... the idea of it, I was like, ew. Like, why would you want to? Like, what's the point? Even, like, as I got older and I started reading, like, more adult fan fiction, more adult content and stories, and I was just like, and I've said this before too to the people I know, it's like I read it and there's parts of like, yeah, this is, or I'll go, oh yeah, this is hot or something like that, like, because it's something that does, because again, desire and attraction are different, and your sex drive is different than sexual attraction, so it's like, and I'll go, oh yeah, but I just, the idea of putting myself in that position is just so weird and uncomfortable, and like, and I've talked about it like with Jace, my partner, like I'm being more comfortable in the idea of participating in sexual acts. And we've explicitly, like, we're not doing anything, obviously, like we're not doing it because we both have boundaries on things, and we're both very, very careful about those boundaries, which I very appreciate. It's like, but it's just the idea of doing any of that is so weird, and I've always had that. And then, like, it goes back to saying getting pregnant, and you're just kind of like, and then, like, the other thing too is like, with the dysphoria part, you're just realizing this is in my body.
Like, I don't necessarily have extreme dysphoria about like down there.
Yeah.
If anything, it's more like my thighs, my voice, and my chest, but that's about it. But like,
mine's like, definitely just my chest, and then sometimes down there because
so it's like
especially during Shark Week.
Oh, okay, that is a big source of dysphoria. Like, okay, Stargate
Yeah.
is dysphoria, but like the idea of having stuff done down there depends on how I'm feeling.
It's just so uncomfortable to me because I don't
Yeah.
want it to exist. Like that's
Yeah.
really what it comes down to. Is I
Like,
don't want it to exist,
I
and then
would
you
I don't so much
prefer
get
for it not
dysphoria.
to be there, but yeah. But
I
like,
don't
it
so
doesn't
much
make
get
me-
dysphoria about like physical stuff. It's more like I think people's perception of me and like how
Yeah.
low my voice is and shit like that.
Yeah.
And I guess
What-
my appearance sometimes.
One thing that's interesting to me is you brought up the topic of like adult fan fiction and stuff, and like I used to read that a lot in my old fandom, and like it never really did anything to me. It was just like, oh, so that's what happens. That's interesting, and like it was
Well,
like
the other thing,
interesting to
too-
read.
The other thing too with me on that is that like I obviously like I have like ships and things like that of like all different types, like mostly gay relationships.
Yeah.
Most heterosexual ships are really bad because they just don't have chemistry. That's a different topic.
Yeah.
I don't read a ton of like lesbian,
Yeah, and like
especially like not unless
you
my mic.
cut out
I don't
big
read
time.
I don't read a ton of adult lesbian fan fiction because I am distinctly uncomfortable with the description of the equipment down there. So it's like I remember really struggling with that too because I felt, am I being horrible because I only read it between two men? Which is like, and that's the other
Honestly,
struggle too.
I
It's like,
used
it's
to be like
not.
that
It's-
too because there was this whole thing I saw about like fetishizing gay men. And, like, that was
That's
the whole
exactly where I went.
But for me, like I sort of realized that me only reading only reading gay men should have made me realize I'm a trans gay man a lot sooner.
No, it's same because like I remember when I was young, when I was still going with cis, I only read that because like I was uncomfortable with the idea
Yeah, like
of the,
reading,
with the equipment
reading-
down there. I was very
reading it
uncomfortable with that.
Reading it with
Should've
cis
really made you
people
realize.
and reading it with like lesbians made me uncomfortable.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's not because that those are bad. It's just because of my personal dysphoria around
Yeah,
my body.
Like my personal
It's like,
dysphoria and
it's-
also my personal preference.
And then the other thing too is like, and going back to like the fetishizing thing, is like, it's not okay. It's definitely not okay.
Mhm.
But the
Yeah.
attacks around it that people do because they don't fully understand it and they're defending the wrong things or arguing against something, that's a whole different not discourse I'm not going to go into.
Yeah.
But it's like not defending fetishizing. That's horrible. Don't do that. It's just adding that adds another level of my like confusion around is like, am I being a horrible person? No, it's just I'm dysphoric.
Yeah.
That's really what it is.
And like,
Yeah.
and it's one of those things where if you have to question yourself if you're fetishizing them or not, you're probably not.
Yeah, that's the other thing
And
too.
it's the
is, like,
same thing. Like if you
Yeah,
have
there's
to
awareness.
ask yourself if you're lying about, if you're faking being trans, if you're faking being gay or whatever, if you have to ask yourself that, you're probably not faking it.
you're just confused.
Yeah. Like I to this day I still think I'm faking being trans, but considering the fact that I'm excited to start T, I'm pretty sure I'm not
Yeah.
faking that.
Well, and then the other thing, like,
Yeah.
too, is like the euphoria around things you do to make you feel better and more comfortable in your own body.
Yeah.
They're reading what people are saying. Hold on. Creepy coffee boy. I think it's maybe a boomer kept saying that you'll want to be a mother or desire kids sooner or later. You go in. I can understand that. I think kind of thinking was normal for the time. So I give them that at least. They're just some they're just uninformed about LGBT.
Yeah.
Like I said in the chat, I was like, I agree on that. But like my thing too is that the line of thinking of not wanting kids is not new. It's definitely not a new thing. It goes more pressure in previous times, and like I've always gone by the line that it's a reason, not an excuse.
I think
Like I
I think the main
understand they're a
reason-
product of their time, and I get that, but there's no reason to not try to understand and learn.
Exactly.
You know, like
And I think the main reason
It's adapting to
that
modern values.
yeah, it's adapting and like
yeah.
doing it for the people in your life.
And I think for the main reason that for a while that it's been so pressured that, oh, you'll want to grow into having kids, like you should have kids, it's like our country, like America and a lot of other modern countries are so like based around
Western in
Christianity.
particular.
Yeah, so,
Western in particular.
so based around Christianity, where one of the main things is having children to spread the word of God.
Mm-hmm. Which, and like, as someone who comes from a Christian household, I really grew up with this drilled into my head. So I'm really surprised that my mom ever did try to drill it into my head when I said I wanted. Yeah, okay. I think it was just shoot so they get grandkids. I think that's really what it was. But the thing too is just like, and even like now, as I've expressed, I don't really like kids even now. Like, I'm out to my mom as ace, and she completely accepted it, which is really surprising considering how like homophobic my family is. But you know, it's just one of those things too. Is like, especially Western countries in particular, and Eastern countries are this way too. It's just not based around the values of Christianity per se. It's based around the traditions of family. That's the difference between, I think, Western and Eastern countries in the sense of around having kids. Eastern tends to be more, this is a long-running tradition to honor your ancestors and your family, while Western is based around the idea of Christianity to have family to glorify God. That's the difference, I think. But it's like either way, there's still the same. So it's like, well, you have to have kids. It's like, no, you really don't.
Yeah.
Especially because like once you have a kid, you can't back out of that.
Yeah.
That child is your responsibility, and that child is your responsibility. Like, I don't like thinking of a child in this way, but they are a responsibility. They're your responsibility. You cannot back out of it. They don't stop being your child when they're illegal. They're still your child.
Yeah.
And that's the thing I don't think a lot of people understand quite correctly, which is really ironic and is usually coming from parents that I think don't understand this. Because they're parents.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a long-term commitment. Not everybody is
exactly
responsible.
And like,
it's like, because like the difference between like a long-term commitment and like marriage, you can still divorce. You can't get rid of a child. Like, I'm sorry.
Exactly. And it's like,
that child is always tied to you in some way, even if you put them up for adoption.
And it's an interesting thing because, like, I feel like I'm the only person, at least on my mom's side of the family, that's not going to have a child from a young age. Because, like, I don't know how my grandma was, but my mom had me when she was 20. So she became pregnant with me when she was my age. When she was 19.
That's crazy.
And
I mean, saying this as a my mom was a teen parent, so like I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, and it's like
it was an accident. It definitely wasn't on purpose, but
and it's not the fact that like, oh, I'm just waiting for the right person, or oh, I'm just not ready for a child. It's I am trans. I physically do not wish to conceive a child inside of me.
Yeah. And if there are trans people who are totally down for that's totally valid. Like you do you. I couldn't do that. It would make me want to hate myself more.
Exactly. Like, I already deal with extreme dysphoria whenever Shark Week comes around.
Fucking Shark Week.
Like, I can't even imagine having like a bigger stomach with that and having to push something out. Like,
and don't forget too that you're like your chest. Your chest grows too, and that's even like for me is like chest more than anything else, because other than you're like down there in Shark Week, but like it is one of the biggest parts of my dysphoria. So like that would make it so much worse.
I love that you guys are calling this Shark Week.
Okay, listen, I have a joke about this, by the way.
I mean, there's blood and there's pain, so.
I have a joke around this. I don't friend anymore because of reasons, but I remember I was on a call with them and another person I mentioned, oh yeah, it's Shark Week. She didn't hear me correctly, so she was like, what do you have against sharks? You know, I'm like what? It's like, what's wrong with sharks? What did they do to you? I'm like, well, it's like I like sharks. She said, not when they're biting me down there. Like I said, I was like so blunt.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna read the chat because we're not paying attention.
Yeah,
Jace,
I am reading it, but like, yeah.
yeah. Jace said that doesn't go without saying that I dislike them. Oh wait, there's 2 messages here. I mean, yes, the other day I told my mother how I feel towards men. She was very surprised, but like, I guess my family always kind of expected me. But I haven't actually said it outright. It's more like I do not find men that appealing, and if I do, it's because I find them pretty. I don't know how to put it. Like, I love all people. It's just more difficult for me to see men in that sort of light. That doesn't go without saying I dislike them. I just find something who presents slightly less masculine more appealing, and that's where my attraction lies more than anything. Of course, I like masculinity. I don't know. It just depends on themselves. I'd agree. Like,
Yeah.
Jace, we've had this conversation. Like, I don't like most men. Like, I literally could list probably men I like in my life that are celebrities, and Jace, you can name all of them. Because it's not a very long list. So it's like, because also I just have trauma around men because of my exes, but so that doesn't help either. But it's just like they were saying, femininity. Someone help me. Feminine.
I don't know, man.
Femininity.
I don't have any of that. But I don't think any of us have any of that. So you're asking us?
Wait,
I don't know how
wait,
to say it.
isn't that the thing in the ocean?
Oh yeah.
And then I can't even say that.
God damn.
Anemone. It's a
My stutter just
anemone.
kicked in so. My stutter just kicked in so bad. My stutter kicked in so bad. Oh my god.
There have been times where I stutter so bad that I just fucking give up on what I'm saying.
It's especially worse when I'm like excited or I'm like ranting. I just like
Oh yeah, like
Yep.
most of the time is like when I get really excited, I cannot stop repeating a certain word. It's like,
yep, that's my
like,
favorite stutter.
For example, I'll say like a lot, and I cannot move to the next word.
I've done that so many times. It's a stutter. It's a big like neurodivergent stutter thing too.
Yep, stutters
did
are
research on
awful.
I hate them.
Horrible.
But yeah, like I find feminine qualities in presentation.
Femininity, I think.
That's the word. I couldn't
It
say it.
doesn't even sound right anymore.
It really doesn't.
I find
destroyed
those
the word.
qualities more aesthetically appealing. Like I can look at a man and go, "Oh yeah, they're aesthetically attractive." But I just don't
Yeah.
look
it's
at
like-
most men that way, and masculinity as a whole. That way.
And like back with the whole, even though I wasn't there for that, with the whole pretending to have crushes on people. I never
My first
really
fake
knew
celebrity
I was.
crush was Shawn Mendes. If that says anything.
Oh no.
I didn't know I was faking a crush at the time. Because I thought a crush was just somebody that you thought looked nice. So whenever I said I had a crush on somebody back in like middle school or whatever, I was like, oh, that person is aesthetically pleasing to me, so I like them.
Yeah. The other thing too is like because you weren't here for this, but like my dad's at the time she was his girlfriend. Now she's his. Like I said earlier, I have mixed feelings towards her, but she kept pressuring me about like if I had a celebrity crush. I wouldn't really say pressure, but she was nagging me. She was kept begging like, "Oh, do you have this person?" So like, I look back now and I realized I was hyper fixated on Shawn Mendes' music. That's really what this was. So I just went, "Oh yeah, Shawn Mendes. Yeah, I like his voice. I guess he looks nice." That's literally what I did. So I just told her that's my celebrity crush and got embarrassed about it because what is this? What? I didn't get it. Like I still like a lot of like the celebrities I met, she's like I'll go, "Oh my god, yeah, they look great," and I'm gay, but I wouldn't say I have a crush on them. I'll even be like, "Oh, I love this person," blah 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 blah. I don't actually have a crush on them though. Like I don't understand this. I really don't. get
And
it.
another big thing is like you can simp for somebody without crushing on them.
Me and Jace's DM over Dream.
Not me simping over like a 30-something-year-old man because of a picture he posted of him in a skirt. No.
Oh,
Please, the
man. Wait,
amount
who's
of
that
time.
about?
Huh?
Who's that about?
Thomas Sanders.
Okay, but
Oh, I
fair.
did see the
Okay.
picture.
Okay.
Like that
So
Remus
fair.
picture though.
Nice outfit, honestly.
Listen,
Honestly.
Thomas Sanders
My-
has something
probably
ever
my
simp
favorite.
over valid deserve
Wait,
shit.
are you simping over Thomas Sanders? I literally cannot imagine that. That's like simping. That's like a
Aster.
dad. That's like.
Aster, did you see the picture of the skirt though?
Did you see the picture
I
of the
did.
skirt?
I don't understand. Remix? Really?
Okay, keep in
Jace-
mind he's
Jace,
a
don't
s-
call me a simp.
Oh my
You're just as
God.
bad.
he is the same age as Filza, and a lot of people simp over Filza.
Yeah, they're
That's
both
really
weird.
weird to think
Okay,
about,
hold on. I think you need to bring up a picture and have chat judge this.
Okay, I see. Okay.
To be fair, the difference between Thomas and Phil is that Thomas looks younger. Sorry, Phil, but Thomas looks younger.
really does. And also, there's the gay fashion.
It's weird to think that he's 30. It's weird to think about that.
It's okay. I've literally gone into Jace's DMs and I have simped over Dream a lot. And George. I simp over George a lot. I'm sorry, George is very pretty.
He is.
I do not understand. I don't understand.
Yeah, no, Jace is like, no, because the other day I was to Athena about an artist we both love wearing a skirt. Yeah, that was correct.
Hey, Alex.
Yeah.
I'm putting you on blast. I'm putting you on blast
Oh,
to
no.
to all of my Tumblr followers.
Oh no.
I'm blasting you to 7.7k people. So, if at least one of them does not come in here to make fun of you, I'm gonna be very upset.
Okay. Also, can you blame me, chat? Can you blame me?
Nope.
I don't understand. It's a nice outfit. That's it.
Can you blame me?
No, I
What?
can't.
I was literally just like looking at this outfit, being like, "Wow, the colors are so cool." That's it. That's all I was thinking.
See,
I
it's
guess
just
the hair.
like it's like again, like we said, like it's not necessarily like a thing. It's just like, oh my god, that makes them look so good. That's really what it is.
I don't know. It's just it threw me off. Okay, it threw me off so badly that you were like, "Yeah, I'm simping for Thomas Sanders." And he has such like I don't know Disney dad energy. I don't know. I just really.
I mean, Jace and I both sit and simp over.
And
So,
this,
like,
ladies
BTS
and
for the most
gentlemen,
part are, like,
and
older.
non-binary pals, is what it is the whole aromantic spectrum.
No,
Jace and Arrow
Oh my
spectrum.
god, this
just
is
going.
the only time. This is the only time you have stunned me into silence. Like in the entirety that we've known each other, this is the only time you've stunned me into silence, and it's about simping over Thomas Sanders. I cannot get over this. What the fuck? I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't think you're the same person that I thought you were.
Oh my god.
It's really not that bad.
It's not. It's
What the-
literally just like he looked good in the outfit. That's all it is.
Like, okay, the main thing is simping over the outfit.
I need a moment.
It's just like
Need a
the thing
moment.
is like at least how I view and a person, or like in Dream's case, I'm listening to a person and I'm going, oh my god, they have all these qualities. They look this way, and this thing they're wearing makes them look so good, makes them
You-
feel so good, or
you
they
know what's
seem
gonna
like
be
such a great person.
interesting?
I'm like, yes.
Once stream
Good
face
person.
reveals, probably by the end of next month, Twitter's gonna be full of
Don't
fucking
remind-
simps.
Oh, for sure.
Twitter's gonna be
Yeah.
full
You know
of
how many
simps.
times-
It doesn't even matter what he looks like.
You can ask Jace the amount of people in our friend group that have said Athena's going to die when Dream face reveals is really bad.
Hang on 1 second.
Like, I simp over fan art of him, okay? Like, let me live.
Oh.
Thomas Sanders.
They're just not over Thomas
I
Sanders.
can't reach my fridge, guys.
I am in so much pain.
Anyway, the point is with the simping.
Realistically, I understand, and I understand that it's about the outfit. It's just, I simp for Thomas Sanders hit me like a slap in the fucking face. Jesus Christ.
Anyway.
In other news, I am 8 subs away from dyeing my hair.
I'm pretty sure that's the most I've talked in this whole podcast episode. But yeah, okay.
Jace is just calling me out in the chat. Leave me alone.
Oh my god.
I'm just gonna get my lemonade.
No.
Okay. Yeah, run away, pussy, huh? Alright,
I
sure.
have it right here. I'm not running away.
God damn it. Wait,
But no.
okay, hold that up again. Hold that up again. Hold up that bottle. I have that in my fridge. I can take a picture of it right now. I have it in my fridge.
The raspberry lemonade.
The
Yeah.
Simply Raspberry
Yeah, I
Lemonade
actually
is
do. I
fantastic.
have half
It
of it.
honestly, it
lemonade.
really is. It really is.
The best
I
one.
just
like,
bought
you
it
can't
from
help
the
it.
market.
Anyway, simps. The point is with simping is
Literally,
that
that's why I was...
it's not always a crush.
Yeah, and it's
And-
not always romantic either.
For me,
Oh,
like I said, it's really
obviously.
just like looking at a person. Like if we're talking like so like comparing like Dream and George, because I simp for both of them, right? Dream obviously I have never seen. I don't know what he looks like. I know what he
Mhm.
sounds like though. I know how he acts and I know how he talks. And I simp for that because he's a great person. And I love his voice. I have voices. I'm very auditory. He has a very nice voice.
Yeah.
George, on the other hand, because I know what he looks like, I also simp over how he looks.
One
The
of
other stuff too.
yeah.
But his looks, he's very, very pretty, and I'm okay with it.
One of the biggest things, though, is sometimes it's hard to tell the difference between simping and having gender envy.
Oh my
yeah.
One of the biggest examples I have seen with this,
Is it Rambo?
Yes, I have seen cis girls saying that they have gender envy over him. Cis girls.
Dude, this is why he's the
Wow.
gender man. This is why he's the gender man. He's not an ender man, he's a gender
Like,
He's a gender
you
man.
cannot, like, okay,
You're
this is
gender.
something that kind of pisses me off. You cannot have gender envy if you're not trans. And if you do have legitimate gender envy and you think you're cis, I have some fucking news for you.
I had a
Honestly.
conversation about this, actually, with gender envy. Like, we're going off topic a bit here. Like, my thing with
I mean,
gender
as long
envy...
as it's so queer.
Yeah, my thing with gender envy is that, like, gender is not a box.
Mm-hmm.
You can't put it in a box. You can't fully define it. So my thing is when I see cis people going, they have gender envy. I'm kind of like,
Like, do
about
you
it. But at the same
actually,
time,
or are you just simping?
but at the same time, I also understand because you can't fully define gender, and even with cis people, like you can't fully define how they present themselves, how they look, and how they feel about things, and how like because
yeah.
even cis people have this box that they're being put into. Like my one of my best friends is. They go by all pronouns though, and they present themselves in a pretty ambiguous way, but they identify as cis. So it's like, would they be allowed? I think the thing with gender is such a weird slope because you would have to. I don't necessarily have a problem with cis people saying they have gender envy because it's such a weird box. Like you can't
Fair
really
enough.
box it. You can't. I had a conversation about this. Like I do ask like, hey cis people, be careful about you saying that because the implications of it and how like it's really a big trans experience to be have the envy towards how someone presents themselves for gender. But because gender identity and gender presentation are so different, in genders, you can't really define it. That's why it's like, I understand why they say it, because they might want to present themselves in a specific.
But they still have to be like careful when they say
exactly. That's what I definitely agree on that too.
Sometimes it's just like a goal for how you want to appear, and
well,
like the aesthetic that you're looking.
Because the other thing too is we have to think about with that too, is a lot of like aesthetics for people
and it's
tend
like,
to, especially in the queer, to if you really think lesbians.
A lot.
I am cutting out a lot. Like, think about, you know how lesbians have like a really specific aesthetic usually for their clothing. It really also that also tends to come into like the asexual community too. I've noticed with how people present themselves.
Yeah.
Because they're avoiding male gaze. You know what I mean?
For sure.
So it's like
another big
there's really specific aesthetics that are in different communities, but that tend to match. Hey, like, yes, I'm cis, but what if they're cis and a lesbian, they want to dress a specific way? You know, like, that's the thing with gender envy.
I mean, from how I see it, it's not necessarily like, this is just my experience. Gender envy isn't necessarily about how, like, oh, you want that style, because anyone can have clothes, like anyone can get those outfits. It's how they appear in that outfit, and like for me personally, it's like how masculine they look in certain outfits.
Yeah.
But also,
which like, that's why I think it too.
I realized what my biggest source of envy is when it comes to Ranboo, and it's nothing I can control yet.
Is it because of how tall he is?
No, it's his voice.
Okay, fair.
Oh yeah, the voice is always a
like.
Yeah, no, the thing too, like at least when I think my thing, like I'm more like when I hear people talk about gender envy, my more thing is if they're talking about like the outfit and how the outfit looks on a person, it makes them look like a specific, like again, using like lesbians as an example. Lesbians tend to dress, depending on obviously if they're more feminine lesbians. I'm forgetting the term. Is it?
Yeah.
It's butch and something else.
Butch and femme.
I think is it butch and femme? Is it femme?
I think so.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
So like obviously depending on that, but like example, let's use a butch lesbian. They dress very masculine usually, right? So it's like, but if they're cis, what's wrong with them, you know, be having the gender envy towards a male presenting person? You know, that's like my thing with it.
I guess it depends on how you view gender envy. Like, do you view it as wanting the clothes and wanting to pull off the clothes, or is it you wanting to actually look like that person? Like that's
I think where it's the weird box, and that's why when I hear people cis people saying that, you need to be careful about it.
Yeah,
because
like, for me, whenever I
it's a very trans experience. The envy, like, yeah, it's that's why like my thing, which really depends. It really depends for me when I hear cis people saying it. So like, I definitely don't disagree. Careful, they should be careful, and should cis people, I'd rather they didn't necessarily say it, but I definitely it's because you can't box gender. You really can't.
Yeah.
Not even cis.
Sure.
But like, it also sucks because like there have been people that I thought I was a simp for, and then I later down the line realized like, oh wait, no, I don't simp. I just have gender envy over you.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm just kind of like, I don't know, and like going back to the celebrity crushes thing, like, I didn't get it. I still don't get it.
Yeah.
Like,
I've never
like you said, I have plenty of people I simp for, but I don't have a crush. I don't understand.
Yeah, like nowadays, there's only really one person I mainly simp for, but I have an excuse.
No, yeah. Again, you can ask Jace. I am constantly simping.
Yeah.
For like
y'all should have seen how much I fucking blushed when I first saw my boyfriend in his manager uniform.
Oh man. Major simpage there. Apparently for Alex, they don't like men in uniform. They do like men in McDonald's manager outfits for some reason.
I do like men in uniforms. What do you mean?
Hey Jace, I called you out about that earlier when you were simping over me.
Aster, what the fuck are you talking about?
You know, when they usually say men in uniform, they usually mean military
They usually need
uniform.
military uniforms.
Yeah.
Wait. I honestly, I never knew that was actually like only a military thing.
Yeah,
Really?
it's usually
I did not know
military,
that.
and I've seen it for
Sailor
military and then
outfit.
like responder services, like firemen and police officers. I've seen that. They've referred to that too.
Well, that's it.
Okay, okay, but a police uniform if pulled off for it, I can understand.
My God.
Listen,
I'm learning
listen,
way
Jason
too much
can
about
relate
you
to
today.
this. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up.
I almost soaked up my lemonade.
I'm learning way too much about your physical attraction right now.
I'm sorry, but
Goodness.
I'm sending this in the chat so you can understand my gender envy and my man in
Is it-
a police
it's
uniform.
And uniforms? What's up with you, bro? I want to study you.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
Hold off, right?
Hmm.
Jace, I just sent a
What?
picture of Jungkook from the dope video.
I don't understand. With the purple hair, he kind of looks like me.
I'm not going to say anything.
God. This is hell, actually. Maybe we end the podcast here. Maybe.
No.
My God.
Jungkook is me. Yeah, dope Jungkook is everything. Exactly.
Oh,
Um,
by the way,
okay.
chat, I still have applications open. If anyone ever wants to apply to be on my podcast. So if you want to apply.
Hey, you want to know what else you should do? You should join the Discord.
Oh yeah, you
Discord.
should absolutely join the Discord. Oh.
Yes. Okay. There you go. Double.
Now I have 2 links to choose from. Discord or Discord. Oh, 3 links. Discord, and
I
Discord.
felt left out. I felt left out.
Which Discord will you join today?
It's all the same
The
link.
options.
It's 3 different links, but it's to the same place.
Actually, no, they'll be all the exact same link.
Don't
The
let
ch-
them know.
The chat.
Just keep it. Just
Don't.
3 different links.
We can't let them know that we sit.
Did anyone have any other like topics about Ace that we should talk about, or like even Arrow? Because I know we were trying to focus more on asexuality and Arrow in this thing, but you know,
There
kinda.
is
yeah.
one thing I've been kind of debating on if I want to bring up, but I don't know if it's too mature or not.
I think it would probably be fine.
So I know I already
Well, I
have
mean,
a.
bring it up.
Huh?
What is
Bring
it?
it up and you can decide.
What is it? Like, if it's too much, we can just not do it.
Like, it's nothing in depth. Okay, so I guess I'll. There's already a maturity warning in the stream title, but again, chat, mature warning. One of the things I've seen is that there's a lot of stigma saying that if you're ace, you cannot read or look at things like porn.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Like, that
Saying
is
this, As someone who consumes, reads, and writes, I don't really write as much anymore, but like I have baited works for not safe for work content.
Yeah.
I look at it, I read it, and I have helped write and or baited for. Like,
Yeah.
I don't.
yeah.
I don't like look at actual like the porn industry because that's a whole other can of worms I'm touching. Porn industry's bad, but
I mean, I actually have done research. Like, there are some that are decent. Like, most of
but
like, if you pay for it, it's usually good. But I'm not.
again,
I'm not gonna pay.
it's a minority. It's a minority.
Yeah.
Of the entire industry.
Yeah.
But that's a whole different topic. But
Yeah.
like, it's just like I'm asexual. I don't have this. Like, I'm on the asexual spectrum. I don't really have these attractions. That doesn't mean that something doesn't. I don't know how to phrase it without
Like,
being too blunt.
like, interest you, I guess.
Hot and bothered, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, like interest.
Like there's stuff like
Interest,
that I'll
yes.
do, and I'm just like, I can still feel this way,
Yeah.
but
It's
not.
like you can still
doesn't
consume it
shape-
without
Yeah.
being like
Oh.
aloe.
And like the other thing too is like, as an ace, as someone on the ace arrow spectrum, to me, fan fiction, especially romantic fan fiction, is a way I like looking at the culmination of that. And because a lot of
Yeah.
people find sex is important, to me, I'm just seeing it as a way that they're, you know, being in a relationship in fanfic. Like, that's how I'm looking
Yeah.
at it. That's what it is. Like, it's them showing affection and love to each other. And, like, if I'm not necessarily reading to, get hot and bothered or interested or whatever, I'm just reading it because it's there or it's interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, like reading it or consuming it or whatever doesn't usually do anything for me. It's just interesting, I guess, to see how that stuff can happen. But another thing that sucks is like relating to that whole situation is like when it comes to being trans, I
It's just
actually
hard to
recently
find ones that
learned
you're comfortable with.
that's actually not yes, but that's not where I was going.
Oh, sorry.
I actually recently learned that what bottom growth is, and you can't really find reference pictures online without finding porn. And it's like
Yeah.
that like I how am I don't want to see porn. I just want to know what it's supposed to look like when it's like fully grown. Like I shouldn't
Right.
be able I shouldn't have to see sex to be able to see what my body's going to look like in the future.
Yeah.
Mhm. It ties in again to the whole sexualization thing.
And sexualization
Exactly.
of LGBT people.
It really does. Like
Like, I'm
It really
sorry,
sucks.
I'm queer. Sorry. Sorry I
Yeah.
exist. Sorry I'm different.
Yeah.
yeah, sorry I can't consume healthy media.
Well, The other thing too that bugs me, like when you said, when you go, oh well, if you're ace, you can't participate in not safe for work things. Like, the other thing that bugs me about that is like, I'm an adult. I can make my own choices.
Yeah. And
I know what's comfortable for me, and you do not know me, especially if they're not part of the asexual community too. You cannot control what my community does.
yeah. It's
You're
like
not part of it.
people-
Don't. No,
like,
shut up.
People
You're not part
who
of
are
this.
ace can actively read and consume porn. They can masturbate and they can have sex.
And do all of those. There's
Yeah.
plenty of people who do.
Yeah. Like
It's like-
especially those that are sex favorable.
Like, and I know plenty of people, like, and again, this goes back to me beyond the forums of AVN. It's like, there's plenty of people who are like, yeah, I do it because it helps. It's a way I connect with my partner.
Yeah,
Like,
and
that's a good
again,
example.
That and like that also ties
They
back
don't necessarily
into,
care, but
and it also ties into the fact that desire and attraction are different. Like it all ties back into that. Like you can have the desire or the want to consume or act or do all of that without seeking it out.
Exactly.
So it's a weird kind of infantilization thing with ace people where they'll gatekeep like
Yeah.
sexual things and they'll be like, yeah, you can't interact with this kind of stuff.
Or
It's like,
trying to tell
no.
other people to tone it down because there's an ace person in chat. We have or in the group. We have to keep their interests in
Like,
mind.
yeah, and like I said, like a couple of my house people that because they know I'm on the spectrum and I have at times. But it's like I literally am like, you don't have to hide it from me. And I've said like for the most part don't really know I make these. They especially because they know I make these jokes anyway. So like I'm just like, just do it. If I'm uncomfortable, I'll say something.
Yeah.
Like the most I've ever really had to say something is when we were playing Quick Flash and I got really really sad. I really that's the only time. Like, because for the most part, it's just like I can handle it. I'm a big kid.
Like, as long as it's not too in detail, and it's not a private setting, then
Like I make my own jokes too. It's like, and I know my boundary. I know my limits. I know my. You have to trust that people who know who they are can say what's bugging them, especially in the Ace and Arrow communities.
yeah,
Like,
it's like
For sure.
you have to trust us to make our own decisions because
like you
we
trust
know
you
our
trust other
boundaries
people. You trust
better
you
than
trust
anyone
other
else.
like you trust other Aloe people. Why aren't you trusting us to make our own choices? Like
Yeah,
we're not babies. Like it's infantilism. Like that's what it is. Like
like, and
I'm
I
not a
feel
child.
I
And
feel
even
like
even if it is a teen, like yes, technically they're a minor, but
they can still
teenagers talk about sex all the time. Like they can
Mhm.
like they might struggle with it, but they can say, I don't
and
want to talk
teenagers
about this
usually
anymore.
have a higher sex drive than adults.
Yeah. For the most part, yeah. So it's like it's more normalized for teenagers to be talking about. Like,
Yeah, like
of
you
course
can
they
talk
are.
about it and like masturbate and do all that shit, and like even actual sex as a teenager, just as long as you have to be careful because you are a teen, there could be serious consequences. But
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's gonna start me on a whole rant about the sex education in America. Let's not go there.
oh, dude,
Oh my
my youth group had like an actual. My youth group had like an actual like sex education thing, and you want to know what they did?
What?
They brought in sex toys. My youth group brought in my LGBT youth group brought in sex toys to talk about sex ed. And then we
Well,
had
they're
to
doing better
like
than mine.
we had to like pair up with a partner and like practice putting a condom on a dildo.
Oh, they had us do that one too. We also put a condom on the dildo.
Mine didn't even do that. They just went best way. Abstinence is the best way.
Oh, yeah,
Here's
no,
all these STDs you can get, but you should make sure
I
you
had-
use condoms.
That's what my high school
I had
did. Yep.
3 talks on abstinence. I had 3 talks about abstinence, and then they didn't actually tell me any sex ed things until I was in high school, and I was out of
Abstinence,
the
like-
Christian school system.
I wasn't even a Christian. I was in a public at the time.
Oh yeah, that's how my middle
It's
school
all
was.
around.
It's just like
Yeah.
no, the abstinence. You can't. You need to teach them proper ways to have sex.
Because
Not,
if you just
don't
tell
do
them
it.
not to have sex, they're gonna want to do it more to spite the system.
Or they're just curious, and like people, because they're curious, they're going to want to
Yeah.
do it because they're curious, regardless of what you say.
Yeah, and
It's like,
I honestly,
you're
I really regret
helping.
my attitude towards sex when I was younger. Because like back when we had the whole sex ed thing at my youth group, I didn't really want to participate under the circumstance. Like, oh, I'm ace. I'm never really gonna be in that situation. I'm never gonna need to know any of this. And now here I am.
Mhm.
Somewhat active, and I don't remember anything because I was like, oh, I'm never gonna need this in the future.
My thing with it is like, because I had my sex ed late. 'Cause in my middle school, I went to a Christian one, and they didn't teach us any health classes. I don't know if that was safe till high school or what, but because it was private school, so it was elementary through all the way through high school, so different. I didn't know if they were going to save it for that or not, but I had it in my high school year. It's just like at that point, I knew more from the internet than they even taught in the class. Like I already knew about
Yeah.
STDs. I already knew about like using a condom. I already knew what it was. Like it's like the internet taught me more than my classroom did.
Like that's when I like
yeah.
if I like you can opt out, you can opt your child out of a sex ed class, right? Like if you like, because at least in my middle school it was either
I don't know.
you go to sex ed or you have your parents give you the talk and tell you all of that. Like that's how it was in my high school. We had forms
what my
for
class
it.
did, like what my high school did, is that you either had a full health class semester, or your health class was part of the walk fit class, so it was your PE credit and your health credit. You couldn't opt out
Yeah,
because
no,
it was a section in the health class, so you couldn't opt out,
fun. But yeah,
and it was
like
horrible.
if I ever do adopt, I'm just gonna have like a talk with my kid like once they start getting around that age, and like tell them
The other thing
what
too
sex
is
is, how to be
like
like.
the other thing too is like my parents try to be like, oh, you can come ask us about it if you really want to know. It's like, no, I don't want to know. Like that was one attitude I had, and one the other thing too is that like my parents were weird about it. Like not like weird. It's just like my mom and stepdad, because they were more Christian than my dad, were kind of like it was harder to talk about that with them. Also, the fact that like I had younger siblings and there's no really easy time to have a conversation. There's no
Yeah.
easy way to have that kind of conversation. The other part was like my dad was just like I didn't have a good relationship with my dad. That's just really what it came down to. So
Yeah.
I was like I learned more from the internet than I learned from my parents or my
Same. But one thing that I've noticed is with how schools treat sex, it makes ace people who are already more like sex indifferent or sex repulsed like dislike
feel
sex
even more
even more.
alienated.
Yeah. Because like if they're being told the only way to avoid certain stuff is by not having sex, then they're gonna want it even less.
Well, and that's not even talking about the fact that sex ed doesn't even talk about sex is not just putting the thing in the thing. It's
Yeah.
not just that.
Like
There's
there
so
are
much more to
different
it.
there are so many different ways to have sex. Like
Yeah. It's like and that's also where it comes down to like if we go like want to go talk about like a relationship with like, you know, between like especially like straight relationships like too. Like or you just like the guy thinks, oh well, this is the thing. You know, like the whole joke. I'm gonna get a little blunt here. Sorry for so not. You know, like
it
the whole
already
joke.
has a mature
If-
warning. Go ahead.
Yeah. Like the
Yeah.
whole thing is like, oh well, the tighter the better. Like no. if
Excuse me?
I'm just gonna say it. No, like it's a more dirty like way than saying it, but it's more like they think that means better. Like you want
No.
the vagina to be tight. No, that
No.
means she's not.
That means uncomfortable.
I know.
The fact
I
is
know.
that
It's
like
such a weird thing.
it's like it's a really outdated
There are
ideal.
so many
That's really what it comes
misconceptions
from.
about it.
Well, I think too is because the it's not the vagina is not taught properly. Like most people who have vaginas don't even know what their body's doing.
Yep.
They really don't.
Oh yeah.
I learned more about how my body works from healthline.com than I learned from my health class.
Mhm.
Like I learned more from that and just reading from Tumblr even than I did
Yeah.
from my health class.
Yep.
And that's how you know it's bad when you're going to Tumblr for sex education.
yeah.
like, well,
just,
like,
just a bit.
Tumblr or Healthline. Healthline is a great site though, so it's like I didn't have a problem with that. But like I remember like this is gonna be because my dad might like TLDR. My dad's shitty. Jace can vouch for this. My dad is shitty. I remember one comment he said. Like I walked down the stairs. I was like my senior year, I think. So my last year of high school. No, it was my junior year. It was like just before my junior year because it was in the summer. I was wearing a crop top and like shorts or a skirt, one of the two. And he comments that like he made basically a comment that I was getting a little bit like chubby, which my body type is skinny. Like I have the body type where you have a skinnier body type, so like I don't really like build muscle very well, and I don't like hold fat very the same way as like other people do, because you know that's how my body type works. So he commented on it, and like it's something I still remember because like you negative comments really difficult, and then you know when you're biologically female, you have all these other things coming at us.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
I just and the other thing too is like no, it actually wasn't that. It was just me having a body. The other thing too is that what we all didn't know this, but the little like pouch you have on your stomach if you're biologically female, that's your uterus.
Organ. That's your Like you're not
uterus.
You're not necessarily chubby or fat. That's a fucking
It's your-
organ. Like it's not like it's your organ doesn't just it's not just rigid. It doesn't just freeze in place. It rests against your stomach.
Because like the uterus there, it's like it's right there, and then your ovaries are like right there. So
Like,
it's
if you surgically remove your uterus, wow, your stomach is a lot flatter now.
oh, let's not even get started on fat phobia. That's gonna send me on a tangent.
It fucking sucks.
Like yeah, it's just like it's another thing. She's like it's such a problem because early sex ed and health classes are already like horrible about teaching about bio-female bodies. They're also horrible about teaching about other types of sex. About teaching about general, like sex in general is just horrible taught. But then like you ignore sexualize. Like they rarely talk about like gay sex. That's so
Right?
rarely
Like,
talked
okay,
about.
wait. I have a funny story actually.
Oh no. Okay,
Oh,
tell
no.
us.
Remember, okay, I think they brought it up as a joke, but we were having our sex ed class, right, in high school. And she was like talking about different sexualities, and I was like, yeah, okay, this is cool. Somebody brings up being attracted to objects. Specifically cars. And this poor lady who's trying to be progressive and trying to be accepting of everyone goes, yeah, that's a thing. This poor lady who's just trying to teach the sex ed class with teenage boys all over the place goes, yes, you can be attracted to your car. I think it's illegal though.
It's like at that point I'd say that's a kink, not a
I know.
Not a
Oh my god. And everybody was looking at each other like, oh? It was a mess. It was a whole fucking mess.
I wonder. I almost afraid for what that person was doing while watching the movie Cars.
I know. I was like, is this about you? Is this a personal thing? The bravery they had to say that in front of the entire class. I'm almost 100% sure it's a joke, because why would you associate that with yourself? But I don't know.
Oh my god, I don't even have words for that.
Oh my god.
It awakened something in me, that the fact that we were talking about the sex ed classes. I kind of repressed this for a while, I think.
Oh my god.
No, but my thing is with sex ed, like they don't even talk gay sex. It's like we should be talking about sexualities in general, but like gay sex. Because this is how a body works. You got a penis in a vagina, or you got a penis in an asshole.
Or you got fingers.
Or fingers, yeah. Either way, it's like it's not talked about. Like you don't talk about any of that. But like that's the equipment people. That is the equipment people
also
have.
Intersex people, though. Intersex.
Yes,
people.
but I was more. I wasn't trying to like exclude intersex people, but like that's a lot more complicated than I have the knowledge to talk about. That's why I wasn't really.
I actually do want to have an intersex episode at some point. I just gotta get the questions lined up for the guests.
And just people for it.
Sure.
Yeah, I've had a couple applications for that actually.
Oh, but no, it's just something I don't have a ton of knowledge about. That I don't feel equipped talking about. That's why I didn't really mention them. But,
I feel like there should be more knowledge about it, just in general.
I agree.
Yeah, and it's one of those things like, again, if you want to apply for my podcast, it's do !apply, and if there's a community that I am not knowledgeable in or that I am not a part of, I will only be offering questions, and that is it.
Yeah, and for sure, Athena, I wasn't like calling you out for not mentioning intersex people. I was just talking about like there's a lack of education.
You're like this too, yeah. But no, like it's that would be more of things like baby steps, baby sex, please. Mm-hmm. It's like they don't even talk about that. Like they don't even. It's and honestly, then you have like asexuality too.
And honestly, that is one of the main reasons why I started reading like those kinds of fanfics, because I didn't know how it worked for gay people. I didn't know how it worked if it was not a man and a woman.
It's like, how does this work? You don't understand it, and then like
and also I honestly think that if you're going to be teaching sex ed, not only should you be teaching about like different sexualities and different ways to have sex, also talk about like different like tools or toys that people use during it, so that they like aren't afraid or know what happens.
There's other things. There's also other ways of birth control for like, you know, during sex, besides the pills and the patches and stuff like that, and condoms. There's other things besides that. There's
Yeah,
other
like
things.
I personally take
Yeah,
so,
birth control's a big
yeah.
one.
like I need to get back on it because I haven't been on it in a
My
few years.
back
But
is dying,
I
don't worry
used to
about
take
it.
a shot like every 3 months.
I need to
Like
get
that's
on
what
birth
I
control.
did.
But it's just like I didn't know that there was actually like, you know, a condom for like vaginas.
Yeah, but
There is.
the thing
I
is,
didn't know
they're
that.
a lot trickier to keep there because you kind of
Yeah.
have to like
No.
hold it in place, and that kind of takes away
Yeah.
from a lot
Like
of it.
it's not
But
like it's perfect, but the thing is like there's other options besides that is my
Exactly.
point.
exactly, like there's other options,
Like-
and then yeah,
My other favorite thing the favorite thing is that like people go like, "Oh my god, but birth control changes your body." Okay, and
Actually, so I had a talk with my clinician today about like getting started on HRT, and one of the things that they were
Right.
talking to me about was like birth control options because you know even if I'm on testosterone and even if my period stops, like I can still get pregnant.
right.
So it's like she was talking about like different birth control options, and I got this like 3-page document on different forms of birth control.
Oh my
Both
God.
like yeah, like I can actually pull it up.
Well, yeah, and like my thing too with that is because like my parents were really hesitant about letting
surgical
me.
stuff and
Yeah.
all that.
Yeah, my parents were hesitant on letting me get on it. Like, so I've never actually been on birth control, even though I'd like to now. Is they're always like, oh well, it changes your memory, but like, but I had a friend in high school. Her uterus was
You cut out.
inside out. Her uterus was inside out. She physically could not have a period, or it would kill her.
How the
So
fuck did
she
that
had to-
happen?
It happened during her birth. Like it was happened while she's in the womb, formed.
Ooh.
So
Yeah,
she
it's
had
like-
it her entire. So she had to be on birth control, or she would bleed out.
Fun.
So it's like, yeah, that's why I was like, that's why I was always super hesitant on my family. Oh well, it changes how your body is like. Okay, and I know some people who need it, and there's other people who symptoms for Shark Week is so bad that they physically can't move. Like,
yeah, like I like literally the the reason I started on birth control is because I also thank you for the follow. Like the reason I had to start is because something was wrong with my body and I bled for 3 months straight and I had to get 2 blood transplants.
Oh man.
Yeah,
yeah.
not a good time.
I remember
Right.
when mine like stopped for like 3 months. Like it was before like the age like where it really gets worrying because I was still kind of young, so my doctor wasn't worried about it. But
Also, if you want, do you want me to go ahead and put like the actually it's a 4-page document of the birth controls in chat?
you might as well.
All right, since we're already talking
I
about
love how
it.
I love how this went from asexuality to
Sex
Sex
ed.
ed.
the irony. Oh, hello.
oh hello.
Hello.
But yeah, it had like different forums, like with estrogen, without estrogen, with no hormones, like surgical options, immediate options that are only used like during sex, like things like that.
I'll have to look at that. I'm gonna save that. Okay, I saved it. We're good.
Like
But
there
yeah.
are more options for that kind of
Yeah.
stuff during sex than I thought. I thought it was just condoms and like dental dams and shit like that. Like
Nope.
there's gel, there's one of the options is literally just called withdrawal or pull out. That is
Oh my
literally
God.
that was actually one of the things.
Amazing.
And so like
Amazing.
so like
What a big brain
the
change.
the things to know on this is costs nothing, less pleasure, does not work if not pulled out in time, and it interrupts sex.
Oh no.
I mean,
I love
it's
I
not
love that
wrong.
system.
It's not
Christ.
wrong.
And it's only
Big
80%
brain take.
effective.
Brain take. What a big brain take. You don't want kids? Simply pull out your dick. God.
I lost my fucking shit when I saw that.
I think my high school did something along the same lines in my sex ed class.
Amazing, honestly.
Like, don't want kids? Just pull out.
Simply get good. Simply get good.
Just
Up your
get
reaction
good.
time. Here's a challenge.
Oh god. Except the only risk is you don't die, but you get a child.
No, straight up, it's like the whole like joke about like I don't have casual sex, I do competitive ranked sex.
Who can pull out the fastest?
Training your reflexes. God.
Competitive ranked sex, who can pull out the fastest?
The loser
Ah,
gets
yes,
a
and
child.
A good grade in sex.
Oh my god. See, this is what we mean. This is what we mean when we say asexuals are have the dirtiest minds.
Oh yeah. Oh,
This
yeah.
is the quality content that you guys are following for.
Listen, man, I'm only good in this podcast for the bits. So this is good.
There's just something. Okay, so for context, we were talking about birth control forms, and I remember that I got a sheet of different birth control options to help me with like HRT and transitioning and stuff. And one of the options on the sheet that I put in chat is just pull out.
God damn it.
So we were making jokes about how you need to get good. Competitive ranked sex.
But the thing is,
I want that to be in the next Olympics. I want gaming in the Olympics. I want competitive contraceptive sex.
except the main thing you need to know, you can't just pull out after like 5 seconds of it being in. No, it's your reaction time to like how soon you pull out to whatever you like, whatever.
Oh my god, wait, to get more points, you have to pull out as close as possible to the orgasm.
I can't even get up. I'm laughing too hard.
I did put the mature more in chat. You guys know what you signed up for.
I wouldn't even make it to the chase of like.
Oh god.
I wouldn't even make it to the
Wait.
scoreboard.
No. If you're a trans man, here's what you can do. Just get one of those strap-ons that can auto-ejaculate.
Do they have ones that auto-inject? I thought you had to press a button or something.
I think they might have some that auto-attack.
Oh, okay. Because I was thinking if you have one that presses the button, I'm sure you could rig it. You know what I mean? With some practice and, you know.
Just get a prosthetic. Hook it up to your actual body.
Christ.
Oh my god.
Would you cheat in that? I guess you could get a prosthetic dick and then you could, like, set a timer or something. I don't know. No, let's think about this.
Time sex. You got it. You can give yourself a sex time limit.
I'm sure. No, listen. I'm sure the Warriors would have a field day with this, you know? You think there'd be a controversy about whether or not the judges were like voyeurs and they were getting like sexual pleasure out of it? I can see this happening.
No. All of the judges have to be sex repulsed aces.
That's a whole other controversy. You know there'd be some gatekeeping there.
Jace just said I'm setting the prosthetic to the highest setting and on a 2-hour timer.
2 hours? You can you can last 2 hours?
Do you think there's a world
are
record for
ruining
how long
this
someone
episode.
lasts?
Fuck it, I want to look this up.
Think there's edging? You think there'd be an edging Olympics? I bet you there would be. That's a whole other can of worms. How long can you last being edged?
Wait, here's another one. An Olympic event for how many times you can orgasm.
No, I was thinking for edging Olympics, right? All you need to do is take an antidepressant because that lowers your sex drive like crazy.
Oh my god.
It's reverse ableism.
It's reverse ableism.
That's what would get people pissed. It'd be trending on Twitter for days.
I really hope this is not TOS.
You know, I hope, dear God, I hope not, because I've been letting loose here.
To be fair,
Oh, I can't
we
fucking
did say there's a mature warning.
We did, yes.
Oh, I can't fucking breathe.
I've seen other content creators talk about more in-depth stuff, so we're fine.
Oh my god. And this is what we mean by aces usually have dirtier minds.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We are destroying this podcast.
I just want to see some aphobe come and be like,
Oh,
I just want to see some aphobe be like, oh yeah, they do. They're just all like pursy and all stuck up. It's like, here, take this podcast.
take this podcast episode. Take this, like, 5 to 10 minute bit we've been doing about sex in the Olympics. Competitive sex.
Oh my god.
Ranked.
Here's
competitive
another
sex.
idea. Here's another idea for a potential Olympic sport. Who can give the best sloppy? Here are the components. How much they can take. How wet it is. How fast they can do it to completion.
And how
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I can breathe again. Oh my god.
How hard they suck. Sorry, I forgot one.
I just thought of another really bad one.
What?
Okay, go.
How much arm can they take?
Oh, I see.
Oh my god.
Like, can you fit a whole arm in, or can you only fit a few fingers in?
Well, see, here's another thing about the cheating allegations. You can train for that.
You can. But here's the thing, you train for Olympics.
Yeah.
That's true, you can. Oh, fuck, you're right. You think if you used a toy, that would be a cheating allegation?
This entire bit has been going for like 10 minutes.
This might be the worst bit I've ever done. Somebody quote this and send it to me later. It might be the worst bit I've ever done.
I'm feeling lightheaded from laughing. Oh my god, I'm lightheaded from laughing.
Oh, hang on, I'm gonna put
Jace, you just made that so much worse. Jace, you just made that so much worse.
Both.
I guess it would have to be split, right? It would have to be split.
There's an AFAB competition and an AMAB competition.
Exactly. And maybe one for intersex people.
I hate it here.
Look, we were talking about intersex inclusion. This is included in that, you know? This is a part of that conversation.
Oh my god, I'm lightheaded from laughing. Are you looking up? Are you looking up the world record?
No.
A world record.
I asked if there was a world record for how long, how many times someone wanted the things we said.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Oh my god. Again, hey, people who think that asexuals don't talk about sex, please have this podcast. Just take it. Take it. Here you go.
Also, Aster, look at the NSFW and KOLSC.
Give me a second.
Oh my god.
We have too many fucking channels in this server. Hold on.
Don't worry about it.
To put it.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god. To get back on topic.
Oh right.
do you
Yeah, we
mean?
should do that.
Alright.
Yes.
Does
I
anyone in
love how at the very start of this I mentioned Naruto and Fortnite for 5 seconds and Alex is like, yeah, we need to keep on topic for this episode. And then we have a long bit about sex, Olympic sex.
There's just
To be
something
fair-
so iconic about having an Ace episode talking about this kind of stuff.
Does anyone in the chat have any questions you can think of?
We can try and get back on track.
We're
At
getting
least an
back on
attempt,
track.
At least an attempt. Yeah.
Attempts are going to be made.
Oh my god, my
Oh
stomach
my
hurts
gosh.
so bad.
I'm lightheaded from laughing.
I'm just gonna.
That was great.
I am only ahead.
Finally, someone who appreciates my long bits about horribly sexual things in graphic detail.
So, only head.
So no head.
Oh god.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Oh, my god. I feel like I'm getting a noise complaint tomorrow.
Probably.
So chat, any ace
Nobody's
related,
saying anything.
any ace
See,
related questions?
if you guys think that's bad, I'm in a dorm right now and we have very thin walls here and it's 12 in the morning.
Oh no.
Oh no.
It's fine, it's cool. They can hear about my in-depth discussions about the criteria for a good sloppy.
Wait, I just never mind. Oh my god.
So Jace just DM'd me and goes, random question, do you think a boob could fit inside a vagina?
I'm sure if you tried hard enough.
Well,
One, how much would you,
would
stretch?
have okay.
Two,
You would
how
have
small is the tip?
you would have to like put your hands in and like open it.
Okay. Or like right after they give birth, I guess.
Further question. I mean, it would be actual tit fucking, right?
Oh boy. Alex, I just saw your viewer count go up 1, and I pity the soul who is walking in on this conversation.
Oh god.
Okay, let's get back on topic. Okay.
my god. This episode is something else.
That's great. What are you talking about?
I haven't seen the rest of your episodes, but this is the best one yet, I think.
This definitely tops one of my guests waterboarding themselves on stream.
Oh my god, that was great.
Oh.
Listen, that was $20 well spent.
It really was. Thank you for your contributions.
That was great. That was $20 well spent. I don't regret that.
Oh my god.
Don't worry about what you came back to. It was a whole bit. Don't worry about it.
I'm almost tempted to put that on YouTube.
No, you're gonna get like so restricted.
Do it.
But no,
I want the clout.
I think in the end though, this does go to show that like the ace community is extremely diverse.
Yeah.
Like there's no right or wrong way to be ace.
Yeah, definitely. Just like there's no right or wrong way to be anything else, too.
Yeah. Like if you're someone that identifies as ace and you enjoy having sex, you're valid. If you have the dirtiest mind and always give the most insane sex jokes, but you're still ace, you're valid. If you in-depth like dirty talk with your friends and like pretend like joke about having sex with them, but you're still ace, you're valid. If you do none of that and you're completely sex repulsed, you want nothing to do with ace, and you're still valid. Like no,
You want nothing to do with Ace?
Cards, obviously, the card suit.
nothing to do with sex. Like no matter what, if you identify as somebody that is ace, you are valid. Your struggles are valid. Your feelings are valid. How you identify
No
is
matter
valid.
what the gatekeeping community tries to say.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
And it's just
You're not LGBT enough because you're asexual.
just fuck what the gatekeepers say. If you're ace, you're a part of the LGBT community. You are welcome here. You are loved.
It's like-
you are supported.
Yeah.
And
'Cause, like,
while
it's-
we sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, 'cause, like, I thought, because, like, just because it's like asexuality and aromanticism are just such unique experiences, even among the LGBT community. It's like you can't gatekeep that because my voice is like gone from laughing. Because it's such an experience. You can't say, oh, well, asexuals and aros are not part of the LGBT community because they can fit in with the straights. It's like, no, they can't. No, we can't. We can't. Our experiences are so different. Even if we are cishet, it's not the same. Like,
It makes relationships a lot more complicated.
it really does. And like that's why our experience is different from the LGBT community too, because we're not experiencing relationships the same way that they are. Even if you're, for example, a biromantic asexual, you're not experiencing that relationship the same as someone else who might be just bisexual. You know, it's like you can't gatekeep that. That's why it's such a unique experience even among the community we're supposed to be accepted in. It's like
Yeah.
it's very unique. It's yeah. I'm just gonna end up repeating myself.
And it's just I know we did kind of somewhat talk about aromantic attraction and things like that. I am definitely going to be doing another episode that mostly talks about the aromantic part of all of that.
Yeah. I volunteer as tribute. I said this earlier. Because it's like the thing is with ace and arrow communities is that they're very, very connected. Don't get me wrong. Like the arrow community started the same place that the asexual did, the Aven network, the Aven website on the internet anyway. But arrows have their own experiences that are different from asexuals. That's the thing. Even, and again, asexuality and aromanticism go hand in hand a lot. Don't get me wrong. I'm literally saying this. They, as an asexual, like they go in hand a lot. But the experiences are still different. It took me a while to come to terms with the fact that I was on the arrow spectrum, other than just like saying, "Oh, I'm demi." Like,
Yeah.
it took time for me to come to terms with the fact that I was more arrow than I thought I was. Because it is a different experience. Like, even among those two, who people look at them and go, just lump them together. It is a different experience. Especially when you're arrow aloe.
Honestly, yeah. and a lot of people don't necessarily understand the fact that you can have a sexual relationship without having romantic attractions, and vice
Which is
versa.
really ironic considering how many friends with benefits relationships exist.
Right?
There are people like, well, how do you have that? It's like, what the fuck is a one night stand then?
I low-key almost had one, but that's a different story.
No, but my point here is like people go, well, relationship like romance. It's like you can't have sex without romance. Like, what the fuck are you calling a one night stand then?
Right?
What is that to you? Or like, what is a friends with benefit relationship? Like, it's neither of those are something I'd personally participate in, but like,
Yeah.
I understand the appeal.
Yeah, like that's I don't know. You can have a committed relationship without it being sexual. Like,
exactly.
Yeah, sex can be nice, but it's not for everyone. It's not like a one dick fits all kind of thing.
That's definitely not true. It's like, and the other thing too, like this, because everyone's experience, Mike, everyone's experiences are going to be different no matter what you identify as, and because everyone's different and they have different lives, that's fine. But it again, just even in the arrow and ace communities, everyone's individual experience. I just comment. I cut out so much there, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
Even in the ace and arrow community, despite us all having so much in common, everyone's experience is wildly different. Because, like, we all feel differently towards something that was pushed on us.
Yeah. And again, like, there is no right or wrong way to be ace. Like, I am pretty sure, like, especially because of how big the spectrum is.
That's why there's so many micro labels.
Yeah, there, like, it's insane. There are so many micro labels, and I'm personally, it's too much effort to, like, constantly look and try to find what fits me exactly. So I just say I'm on the spectrum. And, like, there are no two, like, most of the time, every single person is going to have different experiences being a romantic. Like, everyone's going to have different personal relationships with that. Everyone's going to have different beliefs with that. Everyone's going to have different feelings. Like, it's really a lot. Like how I said, I didn't know until recently that there was a label for not having an attraction, whether it be sexual or romantic, until they say they like you first.
Yeah, like, it's just like I don't really, like I said, like, gender is more complicated than my sexuality, and I use terms for my gender than I do or do my mic today. Holy crap. I use more terms and labels for my gender than I do my sexuality, because asexuality and aromanticism so confusing.
Yeah.
It's for a while I was saying, oh yeah, I'm demi, but like that didn't really fit anywhere either, so I just started saying gray. But that just didn't that was so broad and just didn't feel right
Yeah.
either. So I was just like, I guess I'll just say I'm on the spectrum. It's just easier.
Yeah, because like sometimes it's just by that point, after we've already gone through so many labels, we're just tired. We're just, okay, I'm done trying to look. I'm just gonna say I'm a spec. I'm just gonna say like I'm on the spectrum. If somebody finds the label that seems like it fits me and I decide to use it, that's great. But I'm not gonna go
Exactly.
looking for micro labels because there's so
Like-
many.
Like, and there's nothing wrong with going looking using microlabs. If you do
Yeah.
that,
Again, it's all up
you're
to personal.
so valid for doing so. Like, find out who you are, go off, do it. It's just I've done it for so long, I can't.
Yeah.
It's just it's so confusing to me because especially as my life changes and I grow up, I can't really find like literally having a partner has changed how I view a lot of things too because I haven't had a partner before Jace for a while, like 4 to 5 years. So like
Yeah.
it changed a lot of things. View myself, how I view people, and how I view relationships as a whole. So it's like it's harder to define.
Yeah, and like that is the thing, like having like if you're on the spectrum and not completely sex or completely romance repulsed and you still want those things sometimes, having a partner can change how you view things. Like,
Exactly.
having my partner has changed how I view like sex and shit like that.
You want to know what I realized we didn't actually explain?
But
The sexual split attraction model, or SAM. We didn't explain that.
Oh shit!
Okay.
That's basically when it's like you're sexually attracted to one identity and then
So-
romantically attracted to
Yeah.
another, right?
So SAM or the split attraction is the idea that romantic attraction and sexual attraction are different and they affect your identity, which is true. Like that is literally how it works for a lot of people, and especially in the asexual communities, you'll see this. This is one of those things.
You cut out. There.
yeah,
This is
Gotta
one of those.
spank the mic.
This is one of those things I say is one of those asexual things that really shouldn't be because it could be so helpful for so many people. It's example. So aromantic and asexual are obviously two different things that go hand in hand, right? But they're different, and this is why. Because aromantic is romantic attraction. You have a lack of that. You don't have any romantic attraction, or it's very, very minimal, depending on where you're on the spectrum. Asexuality is the sexual side of that. So that is what SAM is. The SAM model is. It is. I say SAM model, but it's really just saying model. But it's so like example. Like this is when I was less knowing what I was. I would say I am a biromantic ace. I was asexual, but I was biromantic. I had attraction to two or more genders, right? Depending on however
Yeah.
you want to define bi.
Like I usually
I
say
just
I'm
don't-
like pan-romantic ace. That like I used to say that a lot.
Yeah, because like it's saying like I still have these attractions, but my sexuality and how I feel towards sex is different than how I feel towards things romantically.
Mm-hmm.
That's essentially what the split attraction model is. It's based around that idea, and it's a very prominent thing in asexual and aromantic communities
Mhm.
because it's a lot of how we run our identities. It's a lot of how we base our identities around because of how complicated it is for us.
Like one thing with me, I think, is that I think my main thing is like homosexual biromantic. Like,
I've met some people like that.
yeah.
Like the thing is like because that comes down to, remember we talked about the sexual preferences thing, that's what that comes down to, I think, is that
Yeah.
you wouldn't feel comfortable having sex with that because your body's like, I don't like
Yeah.
this.
Like I don't know if I would
But-
be comfortable having sex with somebody who has like feminine genitalia.
That's me with masculine equipment. Basically I'm saying I don't like dick.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
But if someone identified as a male, or even if someone did present as, even if someone was, I was dating someone who was biologically male or whatever, I wouldn't care in the romantic sense or even like any other sense. I just sexually, I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, I can't believe we waited till the end to talk about this. We're great at our jobs. We really
yeah.
should have started off with
Okay.
that.
Well,
We really.
we still have a
But-
decent amount of people here, so it's fine.
That's fine. I'm just more laughing. We should have probably started as that, but whatever.
Yeah, no, important shit came after the sex bit.
Oh my god. But yeah, it's a really big part of the community. I really wish it's, again, one of those things in the asexual communities I really wish was attributed to more things in just the LGBT community, or just, man, society as a whole. But that's expecting too much. Baby steps. We'll start
Yeah,
with the LGBT community.
It's a conversation that should be.
It's because I remember talking about this, like, I explained it to this classmate I had, and she's just like, "Oh, so that's why I like girls, but I wouldn't want to have sex with them." I'm like, "Yeah, probably," because like she could see herself romantically with someone, but not ever having sex. So it's like,
yeah.
that's
Like I can
that's-
see myself in a romantic relationship with a girl, but not a sexual one. But I can see myself in a sexual and romantic relationship with the man. Like,
yeah. Like, that's the thing. Is like that's why I really wish it was a thing talked about more, especially like when you get to people who talk about, well, isn't that transphobic? No, it's not. It's having a preference.
Mm-hmm. Like, and it's again this whole thing of like, technically, like, you could date, like, if you want that sexual preference, dating either like a cis man or a like a sex man or a trans woman. Like, and
You know
like,
how,
it
like,
does depend.
You know how like on dating apps you can put like your preferences?
Mm-hmm.
Like OkCupid as an example, because it's one of the most prominent. Like you
Yeah.
can put cis men, you can put cis women, you can put trans men, you can put trans men, because people, identify differently. It really allows you to cater because you do have preferences. Again, I'm not talking like, super straight, because super straight was really transphobic rhetoric, even though I understand what they were trying to
Yeah,
say. It's like
I
you
can
can have a
understand the motive, but the way that they were going about it was wrong.
It was very
Like,
transphobic. That was the
you
thing.
can have
Oh.
sexual preferences and not want to date a trans person
Exactly.
without
And
it
that's
being
what I think, and that's
transphobic.
like literally any trans person I saw talking about it. That's exactly what they're saying. It's like, I don't care that you don't want to have sex with me with my equipment. I care that you're calling it wrong because I am trans.
Mhm.
That's because
exactly.
Yeah.
that's what that entire rhetoric was saying.
But
It's like,
along those
you can
lines,
have a
I've also seen like fully transitioned trans people saying that now that they're fully transitioned, they're not going to tell people that they sleep with that they're trans. Like, you should still tell them, because like what if they want to have a kid and they can't?
Mhm.
Like, you should still tell
Yeah.
people.
That's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
The other
Like
thing too
whether or
is
not
like,
you want to have kids.
and like, because like as well, like your DNA doesn't change when transition. It's also a medical thing. What
Mhm.
if you're in danger and your partner says, "Oh yeah, they're this"? It's like, biologically, even if you've transitioned, your DNA still responds.
Mhm.
So like, and that's the unfortunate reality. My mic. That's the unfortunate reality when you're stuck in a body that doesn't quite fit.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, like, this is again going off topic because I'm on a trans mindset, but even though this is my worst thing I hate hearing, and this also can actually tie into like acephobia too, is like, this isn't what God has planned for you. Because you shouldn't be trans because God doesn't make mistakes. It's like, okay, here's
Yes,
my
the fuck
argument
he
to that.
does.
No, here's my argument to that. Is it really a mistake if it's part of the journey he wants for me? What if being trans is part of the journey? What if he didn't make a mistake? He put me in the wrong body on purpose because he wanted me to go through this journey to discover who I am in his glory. Like, I grew up in a Christian home. I know how to work this. Like, that's what it is. It's like, you can okay, God doesn't make mistakes. Then me being trans is not a mistake in that by that statement. That's not a mistake. If you're going to throw that argument, that it's not a mistake. It's like that argument makes me so mad. It's like you're putting so much doubt on your deity. Like you really
Like, if
think
somebody
like
tried to pull that shit on me, it's like, well, I don't believe in God, so that argument doesn't work on me.
well, yeah, like, but even still, like, I personally like believe all gods exist. I just don't
Yeah.
follow them. But
Honestly,
it's like my thing is
I'm
like,
kind of the same way, honestly.
well, like, because I'm pagan, so it's like, I personally follow the Greek pantheon specifically, but I still like respect other pantheons and gods and things because I
Yeah,
believe they
exactly.
exist. I just don't follow. But it's like that's my thing. It's like, why, if your God doesn't make mistakes, why are you doubting him? His want, because like the idea of a lot of Christianity is that you are on a journey that God has planned for you, right? So if you're trans, why is that not part of the journey?
And honestly, like,
What
yeah,
it-
same argument with Ace. With Ace, like,
Mhm.
if you don't want to have kids, that's because like maybe God doesn't want you to have kids.
Exactly. So like again, like I am not a Christian, but I understand, like I know the way that they speak about this because I grew up in that situation. Oh, and again, not all Christians are like this. It's just unfortunately a large majority of them. And the other thing too is like, if your God is so loving and accepting, despite you being sinful creatures, why can't he accept how I am as a person and how I identify, how I feel about my body, feel about
Yeah.
what I've been stuck as? It's why does he have a problem with loving someone? Why does he have a problem with realizing this isn't me exactly? You know, it's like I just don't understand that argument. It's like it feels like they're just doubting their God, and it doesn't make sense to me.
Right? Like,
I'm not
you
saying
really doubt
like
that?
especially with the rhetoric that they have is that their God is an all perfect, all knowing, all powerful, all everywhere being. It's like then he doesn't make mistakes, so that means me being trans is by that logic.
Honestly, if somebody were to try, if somebody that I didn't like tried to use that argument against me, it was like, God doesn't make mistakes, and why are you born? Why do you exist?
Honestly.
Like, just throw
It's
that out
yeah.
on it. Like, if I'm a mistake, isn't your existence a mistake?
No, like I remember, like I have a coworker. I get along well. He's Christian, and we've had this talk before because he's aware I'm non-binary. I'm on the non-binary label and trans, and he attempts to use my pronouns. He's
Yeah.
a good. He's one of the good Christians, is what I'm saying. He goes by the rules like it's not my job kind of thing. He's like, I'm not going to reject someone for how they feel fit to live their lives. He's like, it's between them and God. I'm like, that's fine. That's a good viewpoint because it's frankly not his business. Just respect people.
For sure.
That is what your God wants. It's like, and I asked him, okay, and I asked him the same thing I just presented. If God doesn't make mistakes, then why am I trans? Like, why is this really a mistake then? He's like, I don't actually have an answer to that. A lot of them don't. They're going off this rhetoric because the amount of mistranslations in the Bible. We're gonna get me started on the religious.
Oh, yeah.
And it's also like the culture surrounding it. This is what
Exactly.
other people
Like,
Well, the other thing
there
too-
wasn't anything wrong. Like, society didn't really have an issue with LGBT until Christianity became so popular. Or
The other
like,
thing too is it was mistranslation. Like the idea, like the homophobic things that they say from that. No, it was talking about pedophilia. Just
yeah,
saying.
or like pedophilia or cheating.
Mm-hmm. The other thing too is like, and this is something I've like, because I have a couple of
Have a
Jewish
good
friends.
night, Jace.
Good night.
Right.
A couple of my Jewish friends have said, that it's like a lot of Christians ignore the historical thing around when these books were written.
Mm-hmm.
Again, going back to like, because I was when the most popular thing about homophobia, which about pedophilia, it was because the Greeks had a tradition like some parts of the Greeks had a tradition where an older man would train a younger man, usually probably around 15. So it's like that was a tradition they had to train them proper ways of sex. So like that's what that's talking about. That is the actual context that you don't have. So a couple of my listeners have talked about. Yeah, so like that's the thing. A lot of Christians, and I imagine probably some parts of Jewish people as well, are taking the translations that are already mistranslated for
too literal,
and they're not applying the historical context.
Yeah.
So that's the other problem.
But another thing with it is they cotton pick. If you're gonna listen to one thing and say that's a sin, why are you still wearing mixed fabric? Why are you still eating shrimp?
No, and that's my favorite thing. They'll go, well, it's like we don't have to listen to the Old Testament anymore. It's like, okay, then your phobia doesn't apply anymore because that's in the Old Testament.
Yeah.
So, and the other thing too is like Christians. This is going to go into religions and asexuality. Asexuality, being ace in a religious home, is really difficult. Same with aromanticism. Like, again, like I'm so surprised my mom was accepting as she was when I was able to explain it to her. Actually, my mom said that one of the things she said to me was that she knows a woman like that. So I was like, she said she knows. I think I cut out, but she said she knows plenty of women with the same ideals. I'm like, oop. So it's like, Alex, do you know you're muted?
Oh, I wasn't talking though.
Okay, I just wanted to let you know that you.
Yeah, I accidentally hit my mute key while I was typing something.
At least you did. At least I caught that before you started trying to talk. But no, and it's just like, because I remember when I came out to my dad. Okay, coming out to my dad as asexual. Like I already said before, but oh, you're talking about. I asked like, what do you think about asexual people? Because this was like shortly at like 3 or so months after I discovered it, and I was kind of just wanting to see what he thought about it. And I actually came out in the middle of it. But what he said, he goes, "I don't think they exist." And then his next statement, why do you feel that way?
Oh no.
Yeah. Keep in mind, I was like 16. So this is like, I was feeling great. And like, he was not a great conversation for how I felt about myself, but. And then later after he and I stopped talking for a while, I tried to tell him again. So this was a couple years later. And his first thought, again, was like, he tried to be accepting of it, I guess, but his first thought was like, well, have you gone to see a doctor about it? Because it might be a medical thing.
What the fuck?
Which, like, there is an actual medical condition for it. That is a thing. But I don't have a medical condition. Like, it is a thing. Like, I'm not denying that there is a lack of drive and stuff like that. That is a thing. That is a real thing. But it's attraction, not a sex drive.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was just like, okay. Yeah, my dad's not great if you can't tell, but
sometimes.
But no, like growing up in a like religious home, particularly the Abrahamic ones. So, you know, Islam, Judaism, and
I got
Christianity.
cat hair up my nose.
Good job. Like, so particularly like those three, because they're, I think they're the only monotheistic ones that are really major religions anyway. I think so.
I think so.
I don't remember off the top of my head, but at least they're the three major monotheistic that I can do that. Again, a lot of polytheistic ones were weird about this too, but particularly the monotheistic ones, are super bad about dealing with asexuality and aromanticism. Because again, like
Yeah.
this goes back to like Western countries in particular are based around the ideals of raising a family to glorify your god. Which again, before colonization and before Christianity really got large, thanks to the Roman Empire, it was pretty normal to accept LGBT. Actually, you know what? That's a lie. It wasn't even the rise of Christianity. Because, fun fact, it was in the Dark Ages of Europe. It was. And again, sex was seen as something you only did to have children, and it was immoral to do otherwise. That was the ideal around sex a lot during the Dark Ages. I'm sure people have sex anyway because people are people, and we do it for pleasure. That's a big reason why humans have sex. But
One of the main
idea
reasons.
that it was immoral to have sex that's outside of having kids, essentially. However, it was not immoral to have a same-sex partner. It was, in fact, not that unusual.
Just as long as you got like a kid out of it?
No,
Like, as long
that
as
didn't even necessarily. If you're not having sex, because sex was the problem here. The romance part didn't matter. Nobody cared about that. Nobody cared. It was the sex part.
Huh.
So that was a fun fact I learned a while back. So it wasn't even Christianity that did that, because that was like during the rise of Catholicism. So before the Protestant Revolution and everything like that. It was pretty normal to have. It wasn't. I don't know how normal it was, but it wasn't weird to have a same-sex partner. Just,
I seem to
you
be a little bit trapped.
Good. So really, it was colonization that caused a lot of the issues that we have with LGBT and racism and other issues. It was colonization.
Yep.
Because it was the spread of specific ideals and thoughts around it that spread. Like, examples, so many countries that got colonized by Europeans had very healthy ideas and ideas for relationships as a whole. Didn't matter the gender, didn't matter the sexuality. They had very, very healthy ideals towards them. You can literally see it in prominent religions in like Asia. Many of their polytheistic religions have gender fluid gods, gender neutral gods. They have gods who have explicitly had sex with ones of the same sex. Things like that. Literally, it's not. Yes, hello, Freya. It's not. It's not, and the thing is, so that's why, like, I have a friend who lives in India. They were born there and stuff like that. They're talking about like how a lot of their culture was so affected by the British colonization that they don't even understand how, in most of their history, it was very normal to have different in gender and sexualities. And it's literally even in Hinduism, it's literally in it. So it's like a lot of the problems today, I think we blame It's great is when I tell that to people in my family.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't like that word. It's like, well, you see, that's the truth. So you can deal with me saying colonizers.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Why are you rubbing against my mic?
Because that is what a cat must do. But yeah, growing up as Ace and Arrow in especially Christian home in America.
Yeah.
It's a struggle. Come here. Come here. I'm trying to get her to come here.
But yeah, being Ace is interesting.
It's a unique experience. That's really what it is. And she's ditching me. Okay, fine. It's just, there's no way around it. It's just a unique experience.
Yeah. Yeah, it is getting close to the 4-hour mark.
I have a headache
A
from
while.
laughing.
I am
Oh.
Dark Pearl. So, I mean, I guess I'm gonna start wrapping it up here then.
Probably.
Okay.
That's good.
I think we're about done.
Yeah. Aster, do you have any like final closing thoughts?
Oh, I've got some. From the top, make it drop.
Anything
Why not?
relating
Let's
to
see.
the top? Anything relating to the topic?
No, I'm good. I've said all I have to say, I think.
All right, Athena. Any closing remarks?
Just, actually, I'll just say, go if you're really interested. I said this earlier, but I'll say it again. If you're interested in just learning more about asexuality and aromanticism, think you might be somewhere on those spectrums after hearing us talk about it and make sex jokes and blab about shit. If you think any of that, again, where I started was AVEN, the Asexual Visibility Education Network. Just I sent it somewhere in chat at one point. Honestly, go to that website. It will really help explain things, even if you're just wanting to learn as an ally. Like, their forums there are great. And another place to go to Tumblr's tag. Tumblr's asexual and aromantic tags. There's so many blogs. I literally am an admin on a blog for that. It's like just
Also,
go
Athena,
look. Like, there's some great communities the community is really good about educating people. Again, if you really want to learn more, we didn't answer here, or you have something later. Definitely
also,
go.
really quick, if you don't mind, can you put any
Can I promo the blog I admin for? I kind of want to promo the blog.
Yeah, I was just about to say, if you want to go ahead and put socials that you want promoted, go ahead and put them in the VC chat, and I'll link them.
I don't really have any like
Alright.
active socials currently I use, so I'll just promo the blog I admin.
So for Aster, go ahead and go follow them here at twitch.tv/Astrolix. Is that how you say it, Astrolix?
Hello. It's asterisk.
Oh.
Asterlix, sure, yeah.
Whoop.
My brothers say it asterliscus, so you're not the worst pronunciation here.
Asterix. Okay.
I couldn't literally search for the blog I admin on. Why are you like this, Tumblr? Let me search. Give me a second, I'm looking.
Is it only the blog that you want shared?
I'm gonna share AVEN again.
Alright. Hi. You're in a cuddly mood today, Enter Pearl. Yeah, so while Athena's grabbing that social, I will link in the chat here in just a moment. I guess main remarks, I already said this earlier, but no matter how you identify in the Aeroways community, you are valid. No matter how sex repulsed or sex favorable you are valid. Doesn't matter what anyone tries to tell you. You are a part of this community. We welcome you with open arms. I guess main thing is if you want to apply to join this podcast, the link is right there. And go ahead and give the Discord a little join there. And if you want to follow Athena, or go to any of these here to help support.
For friendly reminder, the blog I am promoting here is not my blog. Admin on it. It is meant to help educate about different sexuality.
Yeah. So basically just some resources that you can follow if you want to get more information.
Like, if you're looking at asexual blogs on Tumblr, there's some other ones that you'll probably find pretty prominent. But you can always ask the blog I admin for more information on anything, because the Tumblr community for that is pretty close. Do you know other blogs and we can give you resources. It's no issue.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
next,
if you're in the
sorry.
Discord, you can always, if you're in the Discord, in that.
Yeah. Discord is always open to questions, whether it's from me or anyone else that has been a guest. But yeah, next stream is going to be in about 2 weeks, I would assume. I'm probably gonna have the next episode be mostly the aromantic episode. So be on the lookout for that, because as similar as they are, they still have their fair share of differences and their fair share of struggles that are not exactly the same as each other. Again, thank you guys all for the support today. This has been an awesome stream, pretty educational. I would think we talked a lot. There's still, I don't think we'll ever be able to talk about everything that needs to be covered with asexuality, but we did definitely talk about a lot of it.
It's a big thing.
It really is.
And especially with how like little is known about it outside of the community a lot of the time. It's really, I'd argue in some ways it's more needing the education.
Yeah.
There's like, but because it's not as well known.
Because again, people just assume it's, oh, you don't want sex, when there's so much more to it than that. And I think I'm gonna go ahead and raid somebody in the asexual tag on Twitch.
Yes, let's go.
That's always a tradition. Whenever I do a stream, I find somebody that fits the tag that we talk about, and we raid them. Let's go. Thank you guys for all the support. And as always, guys, make sure you just spread some kindness, spread some positivity into the world, and do whatever you can to make it a little bit of a better place. Because especially when it comes to people in the community, people need that kindness.
Yeah.
People need that support. So yeah, thank you guys so much for being here again, and I will see you guys tomorrow for Haven SMP lore stream.
Ooh,
Be on the lookout for that, guys.
Fear.
All right.
Bye, guys.